Boom! Hello! What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Let me take this off my ear a little bit so I can hear a little better. We are streaming once again. Pull up the stream on my phone just in case. Today we are streaming exclusively on YouTube as the TikTok has been suspended. So, with that in mind, we're just going to do what we normally do, but exclusively for the YouTube audience. I guess on TikTok we have a bit too much moderation. You can't call Trump a PDF file or Matt Gaetz. Even though Matt Gaetz is being investigated for that, apparently you can't do it. So, it's what it is there. But we're back at it. I mean, I guess for this beginning part, we can go ahead and read the headlines. What's in the news, folks? What's in the news today? Let's see. News. Where's Google News? Alright, let's check out the headlines, folks. Folks, if you disagree with what I have to say here, if you disagree with this prompt, that's alright with me. Let's have a conversation. Let's hash out that disagreement. I'm just adjusting the caption here on the YouTube side of things to make it a little easier to read. I'm watching it on my stream on my phone to make sure I see the mobile perspective. Too damn delayed, man. Alright. There you go. Is that a little better? Just move it in for a good measure. A little good measure. There you go. What is on your mind, ladies and gentlemen, in YouTube chat, on YouTube Shorts, scrolling through and finding this stream? Do you disagree with this prompt that I have presented to you today, that Donald Trump is, in fact, a traitor to his own movement and his own followers? Pickles says you look like my gay neighbor. That's crazy. Right? Whether we're talking about his cabinet appointments, whether we're talking about his policies that he's already did in his first term, what he's talking about doing in his second term, he's already not quite there, looking out for you, to say the least. And if you disagree, that's okay. Let's go ahead and have that conversation, folks. Were you scared the first time you went down on a guy? No, I wasn't. But folks, Pickles, I'm assuming you disagree with this. Feel free to step up. There's a call-in number right there. Hold up, let me open Google Voice, my bad. Voice Google. It is now, the line is now open. Feel free to call in. Now, it's pretty important to do before the stream starts, but I fixed it there. 7 people watching right now. The stream just started. Make sure to leave some likes. Donald Trump has already abandoned his own followers, folks, whether we're talking about the MAGA types, whether we're talking about the foreign policy people that think he's going to be a dove. Joe Star says, hello, Mr. Joe Star. Donald Trump's putting in a bunch of neocons. He's already put in a bunch of corporatists. He had the richest cabinet in all of American history when he was president the first time around. He is no traitor to his class, that's for sure. He's from the upper class, and he's looking out for them. He's from the 1%. He was born into the 1%, and he's going to look out for the 1%. He's the 1%'s, how you say, bitch. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But folks, if you disagree with that, that's okay with me. Let's have a conversation about it. What pronouns do you use? I want you to guess. Use some critical thinking. Do you know Demon Slayer? I actually never watched Demon Slayer. I'm aware of it, but I think I've met some of the voice actors before. But I've never watched it. Glenn Holland, welcome to the stream. Glenn Holland. I think I said Glend. My bad. Folks, 12 people here. If you disagree with the prompt, that's okay. Leave some likes. Be much appreciated. Let's get some of that engagement up. That'll probably boost the stream a little bit. from the analytics perspective of these YouTube short streams, it's been interesting. Because I haven't prioritized YouTube Shorts. I was prioritizing TikTok. But in 2 of the streams, they really just popped off. On the 17th, it got to, what? 21,000 views, I believe? Let me check. Yeah, 21,000 views. Aja Pekin says, hello, new YouTuber. Thank you. Glenn says, you can call me Molly Ann. Okay, Molly Ann. Pickle says, do you like to fart in your hand and smell it? I can't say I do. I think you might be talking a bit of projection, Pickles. On the 20th, I streamed him. And that, one of the streams that I did that day, because I had to split it into 2, because I had to take a shit. No, I think I had to take a shit. No, I just had to piss. But one of the streams got 31.9k views, which was real good, and 305 watch hours, which might not seem like insane, but, you know, when the goal is 4,000 watch hours, 300 watch hours in like 2 hours is significant. So, I'm very happy about that. Pickle says, I love the smell of his own farts. That's very interesting. Very interesting, but folks, if you disagree with this prompt, Trump has already abandoned MAGA and abandoned you, the individual. Feel free to come on to stream, hit that, ring up that, what do you call it, call-in number, and we can have that conversation. Horace Raj says, words that I do not understand, but let me try to translate it. Hold on. Let me try to translate it. Translate. Let's see. Detect language. It is not translating, my friend. So, I don't know what you're saying. But folks, oh, bro, it's Don Pollo meme song. Oh, okay. I did not get that at first, but now that makes sense. That's a good one, my friend. Ding, 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 ding. Let's see what's up in U.S. news. See some of these headlines. Thanksgiving travel. Senator Duckworth says Trump's Secretary of Defense pick is flat out wrong about women in combatant roles. Who's this Senator Duckworth? I don't know who that is. Parth says you look like Joe Biden. 100%. Exactly the same. You know, that's never been compared to Joe. That is certainly an interesting comparison, I must say. Business donors overwhelmingly bet on GOP. Here's where it paid off. That's true. What animes do I know? I watched, let's see. I watched Attack on Titan. I watched Kill la Kill. I watched Lupin the Third. Those are some bangers, in my opinion. It's a good time. It's a good time. The most pro-crypto treasury we've ever seen. Trump's historic move could spark Bitcoin and crypto price boom. And man, the higher it booms, the bigger the collapse. I gotta tell you that, folks. Not a fan of crypto. Not a fan of the NFTs. Donald Trump wasn't a fan until he started getting crypto money, and then he became a fan. He's pretty much made it clear that he's a very buyable individual. Name a car for an edit. A Toyota Camry. Specifically, one of the ones from the 90s. A 90s Toyota Camry. Trump's treasury pick wants a shadow Fed chair, maybe weak dollar. Interesting. David Goat says, lol, you are sad. What, am I sad for disagreeing with you? Feel free to clarify where you disagree. There's a call-in number and you can have a conversation, David. But I would say it's sadder to be a person that's not part of the top 1% and supporting a guy who exclusively governs for the benefit of the top 1%. Like I'm assuming you do. You support the guy. And that's pretty pathetic. How Trump administration may crack down on pro-Palestinian protest movement. Isn't that something? Turns out he's not a big fan of freedom of speech. B says, new to the live, what is this about? Well, it's just a call-in stream. We do debates. It's a fun time. Usually we have a TikTok stream, but the TikTok got suspended, so we're just focused exclusively on YouTube today. The prompt I got here is Trump has already abandoned you. He's already abandoned MAGA. He's not going to govern in favor of pretty much 95% of Americans, but the top 5% of wage earners, or excuse me, they're not really wage earners, they're more like the CEOs. The top 5% of earners, they're going to benefit a lot from this presidency. Meet Nancy Mace, a joke. Gates' investigative report divides ethic committee. Resignation should not prevent the release of Gates' report. It didn't stop it the last time. Guys, we gotta see this Gates report. I guarantee you it's real interesting. It'll be a real interesting read. I just can't understand folks like Matt Gaetz. I don't understand. It's genuinely not that difficult, especially if you're a public person, to, you know, not be into kids, you know. It's a bit of a hard ask for Republicans, but, you know, I think it's easy personally. Musk and Ramaswamy lay out brutal plan for American austerity. Oh, I'm curious. What exactly do they want to cut? Because if they even cut all federal employees, I think they only make up 15% of the budget. So there's still a hell of a lot more budget to cut. Ramaswamy, for the record, has absurdly suggested cutting 75% of the federal workforce in the past. Not only would that not really deal with the actual budget problems, but that would only make massive unemployment, which is, you know, not very good. Less money in people's pockets, not a cool thing. Disbanding agencies like the Department of Education and the FBI. In their op-ed, Musk and Ramaswamy claim without any factual or without any actual proof that cutting these regulations will justify cutting throngs of federal jobs through they say their department will help support though they say their department will help support fired employees to transition into the private sector. I'm a dumbass, says MAGA. Well, that's a pretty fitting name. They also claim Trump has unilateral power to stop Congress from funding programs he doesn't like. This is a ridiculous right-wing legal theory that Musk and Ramaswamy predicted would be affirmed by the Trump-packed Supreme Court. But on Wednesday, in an episode of All In with Chris Hayes, it justifiably prompted the House Democratic Caucus Chairman Pete Aguilar of California to encourage the two men to reread Article 1 of the Constitution, which lays out Congress's authority to act as a co-equal branch. The op-ed be damned. I think Ramaswamy summarized the aims of this group much better earlier this week, where he openly endorsed the idea of Malay-style cuts on steroids. A reasonable formula to fix the U.S. government is Malay-style cuts on steroids. Now, Malay is the president of Argentina, who's got 50% of motherfuckers in that country into poverty. So, breaking news, CNN reports Trump colluded with aliens, Mike A. says. You know, I don't know how much that's true. This is what's really at stake here. Brutal cuts to the government, as I previously written. Argentina's Javier Milei has instituted severe austerity measures that has caused the country's poverty rate to skyrocket above 50% in the ensuing months. Musk has proposed similar cuts to the ones that Milei instituted, and Ramaswamy clearly even thinks more crushing austerity than what Americans have experienced should be on the menu. Policy. Policy Panda said, call the number IDK if it work. Let me check the Google Voice. Oh, I didn't hear it, but here, let me. 409.
Hello. Hello. This is your computer company, and your computer is out of date, and the only way to fix it is by giving.
Feel free to call again if I missed your call. I have receiving calls open. Policy Panda, right? Let me refresh the page. Alright, let's see if it works now. Alright, I see a call coming in. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
What's up? What's on your mind?
All right. So my biggest issue right now that has me really concerned, though, I don't think it's fair to say that Trump abandoned people when he never had their interest in the first place. I mean, like, as someone who never would vote for him, I'm concerned about, like, the tenant media situation with Russia paying right-wing news services over $1 million to espouse their typical talking points. And it's concerning because I think that he has someone else's interest in mind.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I'm only saying already has abandoned simply because there's a ton of MAGA folks that believe that he's looking out for them. And of course, I disagree with that. He has a whole record as president a few years back, and we can see he governed in a way that didn't really help the people much. So yeah, and specifically with the tenant media thing, it's a fascinating situation that certain influencers, particularly some people like Dave Rubin and Tim Pool, were taking money directly from Russia. And you can kind of see some of the rhetoric is a little bit, a little too on the nose.
It's like a jigsaw puzzle piece that fits perfectly,
Real quick, I see the Twilight Zone says, where's the criticism of Biden? Yeah, I disagree with Biden endlessly supporting Israel. I can criticize Biden any day of the week. But if your candidate is worse than a person that I can criticize, like Biden, I think that says more about your candidate. But, as you were saying, yeah, tenant media, Dave
if I could give Biden a criticism, too, he's just too old. I would love to see someone who's more in touch with younger generations in charge, and that's part of why I did vote for Kamala.
Yeah.
But, like, ultimately, I feel like we need to not enter a gerontocracy where we have geriatric people in charge. We need people who are able-minded and not even that, just, like, have solid policy.
Yeah.
With Biden, like, he did a lot of small things, nothing massive that, like, broke headlines or whatever, but it was good things.
Yeah, 100%.
But he also did a lot of bad things.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, when Biden deserves credit, I'll give Biden credit, right? But when Biden does something wrong, I criticize him. And, I do these streams. I bring in these Trump supporters. And I like to have these conversations. They're fun to have. But I notice the complete refusal to ever criticize Donald Trump. So, for example, they'll say, Obama's a war criminal. He drone strikes kids. And I say, well, Trump increased drone strikes 435%. That isn't a justification of Obama's actions, but that's just saying by their framework.
Flip a coin on a table with pictures of literally almost any U.S. president, and I guarantee you they did shit like that. They committed crimes among that nature, whether it was in war or if it was just in passively defending the country's assets.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think everybody, and especially in politics, anybody can be critiqued. But I think we're mostly in agreement, and I see another call coming in, so I'm going to move on to that. I appreciate your time, sir.
I just want to say one last thing before I go that ties into what you said.
One second. Hold on, we're going to let you in, sir, but then I'm finishing up another call, then I'm going to switch over to you, okay?
Okay.
All right, hello.
All right, so I just want to say that absolute power corrupts absolutely. No matter who's in power, they're going to do corrupt stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you're more likely to, but I do think that there are There's good people out there. The Democratic Party in particular has a lot of talent on the bench. But we'll see what happens in 2028. Thank you for your time.
Yep.
Right. Hello. What's up, man? Oh. 403 area code. Or no, 803 area code. You dropped the call. Feel free to call again. Brother, you know Alu Arjun? I'm not familiar with that name. Tech support says you need an operator. No, sir, I'm okay. Here, 803 area code. I'll call you back. .803 area code. What's on your mind?
My brother got my phone and called this number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem, no problem. All right, thank you for your time. Well, that's a little odd there. You know, I have a problem here where every time I answer a call, it brings my mic volume, the input, down to 70% from 100%. It's a little annoying. I can't really pronounce your username. What talent are you talking about? Making little boys castrated. The fact that that's the line you have to go through shows you're really not coming into the conversation in good faith. But I'm talking about people like Gretchen Whitmer, who got rid of the laws that make it hard to organize a union. I'm talking about people like Tim Walz, who have made it that kids don't have to be hungry when they go to school by making breakfast and lunch free across the entire state of Minnesota. I'm talking about the governor of Wisconsin, who's ensured that spending on public education will go up for the next 400 years, right? Mr. Conductor says, go back to Blue Sky. Mr. Conductor, I'm here trying to talk to MAGA, man. I'm here trying to talk to the Trump supporters. I'm not afraid of disagreement. The fact that you're telling me to go to where the liberals are, I guess, shows that you might be afraid of conversation. Zildo Baggins says, Destiny wannabe. Yeah, I don't think Destiny would really like me personally. You know, I met him. Coincidentally. We were just in the same place at the same time. And that's not even a joke. We literally just were. Yashir says, brother, what do you know about India? I don't know too much about India, my friend. Logan says, public education sucks. Funding isn't the problem. Yes, so the problem is defunding it. That's a good idea. Funding is a problem because the poorest schools are paid for by property tax. And if the property around you, you don't get much money from it, then you don't get much funding from it, then you get worse results. What we should do is have more federal funding based on need rather than property. What does this title mean? Trump has already abandoned the working class, MAGA, the peace guys that want no wars. We see it in the policies that he passed in his first term. We see it in the policies that he's promising to do, and we see it in his cabinet picks. Now Zombie says, Oppa Gangnam Style. Vanessa says, public education needs to be overhauled. I'm fine with reform, but I'm not fine with, say, I don't know, getting rid of the Department of Education. And I do look at investing in education as a positive thing. Vanessa says, federal funding isn't the answer. Communities should be funding. Vanessa, that's the exact problem. Most schools get their funding from property tax. So if you have a school in a place of high property value, a rich area, the school will get more funding. But if you have a school in a poor neighborhood, they will get less funding. It's exactly the problem. It's too community-based. Tech support says public education should be funded like our military. Exactly. If we're willing to spend so much to bomb kids overseas, maybe we could spend a bit more money to educate our kids in America. Always enough funding for the military, precisely. Michael Padilla says, tell me you're slow without telling me you're slow. Michael, if you disagree, there's a phone number right there. You can have a conversation. Blue Hills says all the rural schools are funded by the Department of Education, so all these idiots don't read about, are funded by the Department of Education, so all these idiots that just don't read are about to have to drive miles for private schools and beg people to accept their kids. Exactly. I mean, these people want to privatize all the schools. Part of it is schools are one of the best places for union activity and workers to organize. So I think they're working against that. But also, I genuinely don't think the forces that be in the right-wing leadership, I don't think they mind a less educated population. My kid's middle school has the book Gender Queen, so my 11-year-old can read it. You know, Steven Springsteen, I doubt that. Vanessa says, it's not government's job to educate. Parents must take personal responsibility. Vanessa, I don't know if you still live in a world where we live in homesteads and we live in the middle of fucking nowhere where the only person that can teach your kids how to read and write is literally you. But people today have to go to jobs. That's kind of how it was in the industrial period, industrialization. And that's why public schools were formed, because there's a reason why people need to be educated, and parents just simply don't have that time. Getting rid of the federal department, that money then goes to state education departments. That means the money is one huge step closer to the schools that actually need funding. Rudy, do you genuinely trust certain states with that federal money? I don't trust, for example, Florida. I don't trust most of the southern states with horrible education numbers. They're ranked like 50, 49, 48. And you want to give them the money. I don't like that. Oklahoma, I mean, now they're putting the Trump Bibles into schools. So, yeah. Yashir says Vanessa is right in my opinion. I mean, I completely disagree for the reasons that I said. Ask Oline says school is overrated. Learn a trade. Asoline, you know, you have to usually go to trade school to at least get those skills for trade work. Mel T says, can't trust Cali. Exactly. I mean, if y'all don't trust California, why am I going to trust Mississippi, right? Though I will say California does have better results when it comes to education. But, yeah, give it to the states, except the states you don't like. Brother, what do you think about LGBTQ rights? I am for it. I fuck with gay people heavy. Steve Springstead says, my school lotto fully funds the schools. Steven, we shouldn't depend on the lottery to fund the schools. We should look at what the schools need and fund them based on need. Melty says, no, Cali is so behind. I don't know the list of the best educated states off the top of my head, but I'm curious. Best education by state. Let's see. Ranking. Which one to use? World Population Review. How does this work? Top or bottom? No, I'm assuming finding the pipes. Hold on, sorry, let me see. Compared to Denmark, Little Femboy, Fund the State, they cut funding to FU. Trump said, I love the uneducated. He did say that, you know. I think Donald Trump loves the idea of people becoming more uneducated. Five-year-olds should give up on kindergarten and learn to be an electrician. Exactly. Look, I mean, we need schools. They need to learn how to read and write. College overrated. My guy, who do you trust? If you're worried about corruption, it happens at the federal level too, of course. But it was the federal government that did end segregation, so I trust the federal government over much of the states of the country. How about we look at the world and see which schools perform the best? Yeah, that is true. Countries with best education. Denmark, Sweden, UK, Finland, Germany, Canada, Norway, Japan, Switzerland, and Australia are the top 10. Where are we? Oh, we're 12. Yeah, that's pretty alright. But we could be better. America should always be number one, folks, I think. You don't need to read and write to be an HVAC repairman. Maybe. So I had two kids, one from Texas, one from Illinois. They were basically so far ahead when they were transferring to high school. Well, good for you. Cali is above Mississippi, says Blue Hills. We lost my lighter, says, where do you live? I live in the great state of Florida. I'm a Florida man. Steve Springsteed, Steve says because America's the best. Well, according to this list, we're number 12 when it comes to education. We're not exactly near the top of the list. So there's work to be done. I mean, if there's a refusal to become better because we think we're already the best, that will just make us more mediocre. Daniel says, if I were Trump, I would abandon you as well. Well, luckily, I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about you, Daniel. What income do you make? I highly doubt you're part of the top 1% if you're not, or even the top 5%. And if you're not part of those groups, I can assure you that Donald Trump is not going to govern in a way that's looking out for you. What do you mean Trump has abandoned us? Can you explain in detail? Sure. And we can look at the policies he did during his first term. He did his largest policy achievement was a tax cut for the rich. 83% went to the top 1%. He said he was going to bring the jobs back. He didn't. He said he was going to get rid of the bad trade deals. He didn't. He said he was going to have an infrastructure plan. He didn't. He said nobody was going to die because of lack of health insurance, meaning some sort of universal healthcare system. Of course, he did not pass universal healthcare, and he was trying to get rid of even the most milquetoast healthcare reforms, like the Affordable Healthcare Act, which, if he were to have been able to get rid of that, would have kicked like 30, 40, 50, something around that range, tens of millions of people off their health insurance, right? So he's not looking out for the bottom. He's not looking out for the working class. We can look at his cabinet picks today. First of all, his first cabinet during his first presidency was the richest, wealthiest cabinet in American history. Had more CEOs and Wall Street billionaires than any other cabinet in the world. And I can assure you those people are not looking out for you. A president is only as good as the people he surrounds himself with. So, what he's promising to do now is a tax plan which will raise taxes on 95% of people and only cut taxes for the top 5% and more so the top 1%. It'll raise taxes on you, and he wants to do tariffs which will increase cost on you. His cabinet picks today include neocon Marco Rubio, include advisors to the likes of Dick Cheney and George Soros. I know you guys don't like George Soros. He's palling around with the richest guy in the world, Elon Musk, and he took his money. He says Israel was being held back by Joe Biden. If you think Israel's been being held back by Joe Biden, I mean, it says a lot about you. He took $2 billion from Saudi Arabia through his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Took $2 billion, folks. Directly to his company. Donald Trump's net worth is around $5 billion. Hold on, we're getting a call here right now. 818 area code. What's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm good, brother. I'm good.
So, the stuff that you say, half of it I agree with, but I would rather vote for Trump than any other Democratic nominee at this point.
Why?
Would you say the same or no?
No, absolutely not. I voted for Kamala Harris. I mean, she's not my favorite Democrat in the world, but if she was the better of the two options, in my view.
Okay, let me ask you one more question. What state do you live in?
I live in Florida.
Oh, okay. You see, interesting. You're a Democrat who lives in Florida. I'm you could say, a Republican who lives in California.
Yeah.
And if you compare the over the years, California and how it's doing economically, but most importantly, like the way people are living, it's been going down the hill drastically.
There are problems in California, but there's problems in Florida. We have ridiculous housing costs here too, just like how you guys have ridiculous housing costs. And our costs have been going up dramatically, especially in the last 2 years, right? We have inefficient local governments that really aren't interested in doing pretty much anything. And we have a governor that's more focused in the culture war than actually helping people. We have had a government which prevented Medicaid expansion, right? So Florida's not doing great either. But when it comes to the two options, right? Now, Kamala Harris is going to be president, so I'm not really that concerned with what she planned to do. But if we were just to put policy against policy, Donald Trump was promising to do more tax cuts for the rich because his previous tax plan, I guess, was not enough. He needs to get the deficit higher. And this time it was people looked into it and found that 95% of people would see their taxes increase. He wants to do tariffs, which would make things more expensive for people. Analysis found about $3,000 to $4,000 in new cost. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris, for whatever disagreement you might have, she was talking about increasing the housing supply, which I think is a fair thing to do and a needed thing to do in the face of more expensive housing. She was talking about expanding Medicare to include home health. I think that that's a good thing to do. And if we were to just look at Biden's administration, for his flaws, I think his biggest flaw was in foreign policy, particularly with Israel, giving them whatever they want. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has promised he's going to unleash Israel. He says Biden was holding them back. Other parts of his administration I completely approve of. For example, the CHIPS Act, investing money into chip manufacturing, historic public and private investments into manufacturing in the United States. Meanwhile, we saw investments go down in manufacturing under Donald Trump, and we saw 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. So, those are some things that I have in mind. Hold on, I have somebody calling in. I'm gonna accept them and I'm gonna put them on hold. All right, 1 second. Hello, I'm gonna pull you in soon, but I'm just gonna continue talking with this guy that I'm currently talking to, and then I'm gonna move on to you. All right?
All right, man.
All right. Hello, I'm back.
Okay, perfect. So I'm specifically going to speak on California because I'm more aware of what's going on in California, my own state.
Yeah.
So in regards to LA, the homelessness I don't think it's going to ever be, I guess, it's not going to be fully solved. But I want to specifically talk about cars because I love cars.
Yeah.
The governor of California is very hypocritical in regards to his own policies.
I'm no fan of Gavin Newsom.
Okay, that's good. What would you say that, because I guess Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom, what are some things that you would say that you don't like about Gavin Newsom at all?
Gavin Newsom is kind of, he is in the right wing of the Democratic Party. He's a corporatist. He's a neoliberal. He doesn't actually want to solve the issue of homelessness in a way that would solve it long term. He'll go to LA and clean up a homeless encampment, meanwhile not actually dealing with the root causes of homelessness. He's definitely not interested in making, for example, housing a right. He's anti-union. He's anti-universal health care, even in the state level. He definitely wants to run for president, but I think he's too fake to win a primary, and we'll see how that goes. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to see essentially the robots that are stuck in the Clinton era going up against the sort of Midwest, much more progressive-minded Democratic governors, which have been much more effective in their work. For example, Gretchen Whitmer, Tim Walz from Minnesota, and the governor of Wisconsin. I think that they're going to run, and we'll see how it goes, right? But with that in mind, we do have somebody on hold. So is there any final things you want to talk about for now?
Yeah, I guess my final point would be that California is essentially if Democratic rule were to be in, if the Democrats would have power and impose the regulations and everything like that, we would see what's going on in California with the whole United States in regards to the housing affordability, because in my specific city and county, LA County, they love zoning requirements, and if we are to increase the zoning requirements and not deregulate enough, then I feel like the housing affordability would skyrocket, as well as specifically in regards to the the EV cars. I know that Gavin Newsom wanted almost everyone to essentially buy EV car. However, given the production requirements as well as the electric charging requirements, he essentially went back on his promise. So I feel like my end point would be if the United States were to implement most of the democratic policies, we would see what's going on in California and the whole United States.
Here, we can, before you head off, I'll just respond to that quickly. I'm involved
Go
in
ahead.
local politics, and housing is a big focus of mine. If we want to actually see the cost of housing lowered, we need to increase demand, or excuse me, increase supply, because demand's so high, right? Demand's high in California, demand's high particularly in LA, and demand's high in places like Florida as well, and that's why we've been seeing the costs go up. But we have a good amount of people that are involved in local politics that essentially hate seeing anything done, right? And this isn't generally like the liberal left. These are mainly old conservative retirees that are opposed to any change, right? So they make it harder to build higher buildings. They make it harder to build apartments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what we need to see there is regulations change, like, for example, with building height, with density, with certain zoning laws. We need to see more mixed-use housing, right? We need to see more, there's places like Austria's social housing. Japan has a great mix of public and private housing. Also has a national law when it comes to zoning, which makes it a lot easier to build. And those are practical ways we do it. And again, part of that is increasing housing supply, which is something Kamala Harris talked about, which Donald Trump does not talk about, right? When it comes to just what Democratic governors do, because again, the governor of a blue state like California is different than the governor of a blue state, but a much more competitive blue state like Minnesota, and a swing state like Michigan, right? So we can see what they've done with their power. You know, if you're a conservative person in California and you're a politically ambitious person, you'll probably just join the Democrats, but you'll govern in a conservative manner, right? But at least with the D next to your name, you can get into office. When you're in a swing state, you're a lot more likely to just go to the party that reflects
Be in the middle ground. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
for example, we've seen in like
Go
Minnesota,
ahead.
we saw infrastructure investments on a state level from Tim Walz. We saw free school breakfast and lunch. We saw legalized marijuana. We saw a bunch of other things, right? I can't list the whole list off the top of my head. Election season was a while ago, and people were listing off every achievement that was done in places like Minnesota. They got rid of captive audience meetings that made it harder to organize, that where employers forced workers to watch anti-union propaganda, right? So there's a lot of good stuff that can be done. And blue state governors in other regions of the country do a lot better than the blue state governors of California or New York. I would say that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Whatever you just mentioned,
yeah.
Okay, final point. Whatever you just mentioned, the free lunches and everything, we have that in California, but yet again, the education level is far below. You know, I'm a product of the public schooling system, and no, even though we have free lunches and everything like that you just mentioned,
there's ways to improve school, but I can assure you that the people that are dependent on places like public schools for their nutrition would rather have free public breakfast and lunch rather than not, right? And I think that we can agree on is good, that people have food in their bellies. All right.
Okay, cool.
818
My
code, thank you for your time.
One more thing, closing.
Well, that was your last thing, sir. Okay. I'm sorry. We're going to move on for now. Thank you so much for your time.
Closing.
All right. 570 area code. You're on. What's on your mind? Hello.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. What's up?
All right, man. So, look, my name's Taz. I live in the Pocono, Pennsylvania area.
Yeah.
I'm 26 years old, and what I want to give you is the perspective of a normal person that comes from a normal life, that essentially is just a regular American.
Okay.
As diverse as you can be. So when we talk about government and we talk about kind of like politics, policies, and all of those conversations, it's a lot of back and forth where it's a lot bigger than the people that we speak behind.
Yeah.
So you got to understand that at the end of the day, what we're talking about is things that matter to the overall people, because that's what makes it democracy.
Yeah.
That's what makes what people say important. So I'm trying to explain to you maybe how you can understand why a person like Donald Trump and conservatives kind of like swept the election this time around. And
I wouldn't say.
I have an understanding of why. I think you know why. But I'm trying to. I think
the thing is the economy. People wanted lower inflation. They believe inflation's up. Inflation is down, but there is still more work to be done. And ultimately with Joe Biden, what you saw was somebody that did decent policies, but not far enough, and that's not good enough. And things like the CHIPS Act, which increased manufacturing, investments, and jobs, is a good thing. But we need more of a new deal rather than just marginal, improvements on quality of life. You get what I'm saying? So I understand why Donald Trump won.
This is the part of the discourse that I feel like I need to speak for. I'm speaking for the average person that comes from inner cities that probably
listen.
Their lives.
Well, but my friend, I'm the average person too. I work
I
a
know.
job.
That's
I wake
what
up
I'm
at
trying
6
to.
a.m.
Yeah,
I
but let
understand
me
how
finish my
average
point.
people are.
Let me get to my point, right?
Okay.
The average person that doesn't care about politics, they don't watch the news, they just live their life, they go to work, they're trying to make sense of life in the way how it presents itself immediately at them. They're not thinking virtuously, right?
Yeah.
The average person, bro, looks at things that are happening right in front of them. So there's
so do
obvious things. There's some obvious things that need to be said, need to be dealt with, and I think require a conversation that I don't 100%. Think you realize that at this point, for you to say that you voted for Kamala Harris is to say that you are oblivious to the fact that certain things matter to people right now. Hold on, let me finish.
My friend, wait, hold on. You've been going on for a while, and you've been doing. Hold on. Let me jump in here because you've been going on for a while. You're going on this whole thing where you're talking like you're virtuous. You're saying that I'm just a regular guy. You need to understand why regular people did this, and Donald Trump swept the nation. Both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump got under 50% of the vote. They're not exactly liked. Right? But I voted for who was the better of two options, right? So I care about, say, the cost of housing, and I know how important it is to lower the cost of housing. You need better housing supply. Donald Trump didn't have a housing plan. The only policies Donald Trump talked about was doing tariffs and mass deportation. Tariffs would make things more expensive. $3,000 to $4,000 in new costs. That's no good to me, right? Mass deportation would cause labor shortages in a time where we would need to increase production, which would then make things more expensive when supply meets demand even less. So yes, I am a regular working person who wants things to be less expensive, and that's exactly why I voted against Donald Trump.
Okay, so let me speak now to what you're saying right there. See, a normal person would understand that Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, neither one of them are going to come up with policies that's going to uplift people that are poor out of poverty, right?
Presidents can lift people off of poverty. Look at AMLO, look at Lula.
Let me
You're not speaking based on history.
Just give me 60 seconds to just speak real quick, right?
All right, hold on. Let me put the camera or the timer.
Yeah, sure. All right. So like I was saying, when regular people get up and they look at 4 years of a presidency, they do not imagine that their life is going to change in 4 years. What they care about is what they see that matters to them outside of the things that will not change. My pay ain't going to change. My lifestyle ain't going to change. Well, those things are outside of my control, outside of what the president can really change. When you're talking about... Excuse me, let me speak. 60 seconds, right? Those can
be changed, though.
When you're talking about boys entering women's sports, when you're talking
I'm not talking about
girls
that. I'm exclusively talking about economics, brother.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Okay.
When you're talking,
say something that makes sense.
Excuse me, bro, you gotta let me speak. It doesn't. See, this is the problem with Democrats. You don't want to talk about what people care about.
No, I'm talking about the economy. You don't want to talk about the economy?
You actually don't want to talk about what people care about.
Yo, you want to talk about transgender sports, dog. I want to talk about the fucking economy. What are you talking about? I'm not talking about things that don't matter.
That's the problem.
Talking about people's wallets. Talking about the economy.
Anything.
Talking about the cost of living, talking about the cost of housing. That's the problem. You want to talk about you want to talk about the culture war. Hey, buddy. You came in. Hey, listen. You come into this context. You. Excuse me. Hold on, brother. I can absolutely condemn the evil. You want a condemnation? You want a condemnation of the Democratic Party? Hey, you want a condemnation of the Democratic Party? Brother, you want to talk about a condemnation? Here, let me condemn the Democratic Party. You ready for this? You want a condemnation of the Democratic Party? I can give you a condemnation of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, and under Joe Biden, should not have been supplying Israel's horrible genocidal war in Yemen. But what I'm hearing from Donald Trump, excuse me, I'm not done yet, sir. What I'm hearing from Donald Trump is apparently Joe Biden was holding Israel back. So he wants Israel to do more. What I know of Donald Trump is that he took money from Sheldon Adelson and did everything, allowed Sheldon Adelson to write his Israel foreign policy. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem. He gave Israel the Golan Heights. He increased drone strikes 435%. He kept the Palestinians out of the conversation. The difference between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris is there's some reporting that you told me to condemn the Democratic Party. I just condemned an evil that the Democratic Party was. And I can also, can you condemn, brother, I can assure you that the evil you're talking about, there's a lot more evil when it comes to blowing kids up than trans kids playing some damn fucking sport. Okay? Really? Yes, 100%. I think killing kids is worse than kids playing sports. Yes, I do think killing kids is worse.
Hold on. You're telling me your interest in what goes on the opposite hemisphere of the world matters more than what the hell is going on here right now. You really think that matters more in America?
Yeah, I think killing kids. I think killing kids is worse, my friend.
Right to defend themselves.
Okay, so you support the kids getting blown up. You support the kids getting blown up. Let's be clear.
To the person next to you. To your neighbor. Are you serious right now?
I do think killing kids is worse than a kid playing fucking basketball. Okay? The fact that you're then saying, "Oh, Israel's just defending themselves," and you think Israel's defending themselves. You think when Israel listen, hey,
they're praising murder.
What the fuck are you talking about? You voted for Donald Trump, correct? You voted for Donald Trump. Yeah, he increased drone strikes 435%. He funded and supported the Saudis' genocide in Yemen, the worst humanitarian crisis in the world during his presidency. He did all that shit, but you're not going to condemn that. You're not going to condemn that, though.
The same rhetoric of the same people that you don't realize.
No, Democrats don't really talk. Hey, dumbass. You want to talk about America now? Yeah. So under Biden, we saw 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. Under Biden, we saw historic highs in public and private investment into manufacturing. We've seen a resurgence of manufacturing. We've seen tariffs done targeted and strategic in a way that prevents Chinese EVs from flooding into the market. You want to talk about trans kids. You want to talk about transgender. You don't believe in facts? You don't believe in facts. You just don't believe in facts. You don't believe in facts because it's inconvenient to your narrative. All you care about is trans people. You just want, your reality of your work. Listen, you're such a condescending prick, so I'm going to be condescending to you. You don't care about the real world. You don't care about the American worker. You don't care about bombing kids.
Other than that, your job doesn't fucking matter if you don't do something that's real, buddy.
Okay, people's work absolutely does matter. People's absolute. No, this is my screen, so I'm going to talk as much as I want. You're not going to tell me how I want. And let them do that.
We need plumbers.
People can still be electricians and plumbers. So here, you know what we can do? You know what we can do? You know what we can do? You know what we can do to make? You know what we can do? You know what we can do? 570 area code, sir. 570 area code. You know what we can do? It does matter. It does matter because Israel's doing what they're doing with our money.
Bro, it doesn't matter.
If you hold on, brother, you can't go onto this condescending God complex of I'm just a regular guy and I speak for all regular people bullshit, and then dismiss the economy, dismiss foreign policy, dismiss bombing kids because you want to talk about trans kids playing sports. You know what I want to do? Those kids that you're talking about that need to go into the trades, we should make trade school free, just like K through 12 education is free. We can agree on that, right? People should be able to pursue the trades without being burdened. You for that? You want more kids going? You want more kids going into the trades, right? I want more kids going into the trades. You down for that?
Wait. Say that again. You said you want your kids going into trades.
If you want more kids going into the trades, I agree with you. That's why I support making trade school tuition free.
Yeah, but I don't think you understand that when there is a culture,
Okay. And you're gonna magically change the fucking culture. Presidents can't influence the economy, but you're gonna magically change the culture and make kids not want to be celebrities. You know, people always want to be what they see on TV, and the famous people that people look up to are the influencers. So maybe some people are gonna try to be influencers, maybe they're not gonna succeed, and then they're still gonna get other jobs in other fields. If you want to specifically get them in quote-unquote important fields, if you want to get people in important fields, then make a path to get into those fields. Make trade school tuition free. You want kids to work in agriculture? Increase pay to agriculture workers. You want to make shit? You need manufacturing in America? Let's pass policies which will make factories in America, like Joe Biden did. You're saying presidents can't affect the economy? Hello, who's Franklin Roosevelt? Who's Dwight Eisenhower? Who are these motherfuckers?
No, I didn't say that presidents don't affect the economy. I said that real life
Mexico
do not believe that the president is going to swoop down and change their normal life and what's going on. When you apply for a job and the job doesn't hit you back, you don't think what the hell did Donald Trump or Joe Biden have to do with that?
Yeah, that would be stupid.
Make the conversation wider than it needs to be. Let's talk
I'm talking about
regular people that live in the regular world, okay? All right? In the regular world, let me tell you what I'm unhappy about. I'm unhappy about the fact that when you look at the youth of today, they don't seem like the youth of
kids. You're mad at the kids. You're not. Oh, really? They're not like the youth of the past, really?
Bro, the children are the future, bro. The children
are the future. Why don't you be mad? Why don't you be mad? Oh yeah, it's the gays. It's the gays. It's not the billionaires that since the 1970s have seen their wealth grow 200%, the top 1%, and then the top 0.1% saw their wealth grow 400%. Meanwhile, the bottom 90 saw their wealth grow by 28%.
How do you plan on stopping Elon Musk from making his next billion?
Tax the hell out of them. We have marginal tax rates. Wait. Again, you're bouncing around. Wait, buddy, you're bouncing around. Buddy, you're bouncing around. Buddy. Oh, okay. Yes. I'm sorry. I need to suck Elon Musk's dick. That's the right thing to do. Yeah. Hey, 570. Hey, 570. Buddy.
All right?
Buddy.
Some people
in this country, buddy. My friend. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
I'm gonna let you speak. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you've bounced around multiple times in this conversation, saying both we essentially can't do anything about policy. Oh, why do you think the presidents can actually affect how regular people's lives are? But then you're acting like, oh yeah, what the president should be doing is somehow fighting the culture of gay people, trans people, this, that, or the other. These people that really don't have much power. And the moment that I criticize someone with power, the billionaire class that has been robbing us because of policy decided in the neoliberal era in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today, right? Because I'm against these policies, you're saying, stop vilifying wealth, leave Elon Musk alone. No, we should have marginal tax rates like we had when we had the greatest expansion of the middle class. What was the marginal tax rate under... Excuse me. I'm asking you a question here. What was the marginal tax rate when Dwight D. Eisenhower, a Republican, a guy in your party, was in charge? What was the marginal tax rate? Yeah, I don't care. What was the marginal tax rate?
Your mic is peaking a little bit. Sometimes you're
what is the marginal tax rate when Republican Dwight Eisenhower was president? Republican, by the way.
Bro, let me explain something to you, bro.
You don't know, you don't care.
How much money?
You don't care. You don't care about policy because you don't care. Because you're pro-billionaire, you're anti-worker, you're pro-bombing kids, I think frankly, you lost any moral case for any argument. You lost any ground. You lost any ground.
Bro. Read your own comment section.
When you're supporting
Read your own comment section.
You supported bombing kids. I don't give a fuck about my comment section. You supported bombing kids.
Read your own.
You support bombing kids. You support increasing drone strikes 435%. If you think you support bombing kids. That's crazy. You support a guy who supported a genocide in Yemen, right? You support a guy that says Joe Biden hasn't done enough in Israel, that Netanyahu is being held back. Netanyahu, by the way, is now a wanted war criminal. In case you didn't know.
I live in the Poconos, bro.
Yeah, because you don't know shit. You don't know shit. Again, it's our money. It's our money being. And you want to complain about trans kids, but you can't complain about kids getting bombed. Oh, I don't care. It's a faraway place. A kid is a kid, no matter where the fuck they are. Yeah. You don't give a fuck.
It's about the fact that what side is bombing what side. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's not really ignorance is bliss.
You don't give a fuck.
You never.
Ignorance is bliss. You're an ignorant dumbass.
You're sitting in your house on YouTube yelling at a camera, yelling into a microphone, as if you're really going.
Yes.
Go.
I'm making content.
Israel and go save some children from Israel. If the time is now.
What a realistic. Go
do it. Because if you're not, then you're not fucking saying anything that matters.
You're just filled with solutions.
You're sitting in your house yelling at us.
Yeah. I am streaming. I am streaming.
To Israel.
Yeah, and you're supporting a guy. You voted for a guy that says you voted for a guy.
Go save the children on the Gaza Strip.
Yeah, you voted for you literally said that bombing kids. You said
it's completely different. Nobody can get a job.
You're muted.
Amazon is the biggest company in the world. You can't even imagine opening a store that can be successful because Amazon sells every freaking thing in the world, and they're getting larger and larger.
No one can hear you.
And AI is taking over, and normal people aren't going to have normal jobs anymore. You can't even go to the grocery store and find a real person to take your change.
Do you want a conversation or not? Do you want a conversation? Because you need to tone it down because I muted you because you don't shut up. All right? We can have a conversation, but I'm not going to let you monologue and I'm not going to let you talk over.
Hello?
Right? So let's have a conversation. Hello?
Yeah, you hear me?
I can hear you, right?
All right, I hear you.
Let's chill it out a bit. Again, in this conversation, you're fine with bombing kids and you don't want to talk about the economy. You want to talk about trans people.
Why are you trying to attach things? Why are you trying to quote me for things that I'm not saying when nobody cares? Look at your own comment base. The people don't believe that I think kids need to be bombed. The people believe that things in America matter. It's America first, bro. That's why Trump won. Because at the end of the day, bro, somebody gotta come first. Somebody has to be the first in line, all right, buddy?
For Donald Trump, it's Israel first, okay? For Donald Trump, it's Israel first.
Somebody has to be the first in line.
I agree.
I think that the Americans should be the first in line.
You're not putting America first. You're not helping Americans. You're supporting Israel first. You know what I'm saying? You said when I was talking about Israel bombing kids, you said it's just Israel's defending themselves. When I was talking about the economy,
I didn't say it's just Israel defending themselves. I said that you're in a debate of whether or not Israel can defend themselves. You think I don't understand the Israel-Palestine conflict? Bro, it's been going on. It's been going on before Trump was even born. So what does it matter? It's not going to end. It's never going to end. It's always going to go on. You're always going to be able to complain about this.
Brother, you have such a literal, small understanding of this world and its history. The state of Israel was established in 1949, right? You understand that, right? Like this isn't like some historic.
Yes, I understand
this isn't like some
that.
famous religious conflict that existed for centuries and centuries and centuries, and it's actually endless. No, it's about policy. It's policy decisions that led us to where we are, and we can have a policy where we don't send bombs to bomb children. But you don't want to talk about that. You want to talk about trans kids. You see how unserious you are? And if you think that the trans kids, the culture war was the reason Donald Trump won, look at the exit polls. It was the economy.
Okay, so the Democrat plan.
People weren't confident in the economy.
This is how we're going to condemn. This is how we're going to condemn Israel for bombing children. All right, we're just going to tax the rich. That's your plan.
No, we can stop sending Israel bombs when we're the
we're going to stop sending them bombs.
Yeah.
What's next? What's next after we stop sending them bombs?
Well, at least we don't got blood on our hands, right?
There we are, right? So America can stop sending them bombs.
You know, when
America can stop sending them bombs. Then what?
Excuse me. In the 1980s, when Israel was invading Lebanon, what did President Ronald Reagan do? Republican, your guy. What did he do?
Bro, I don't know what Ronald Reagan did. That's why I'm trying to wonder, what are you talking about here, bro? Why are we not talking about regular stuff going on today? Let's talk about the state of the country right now.
I think
you're moving back, bro. You're talking about Israel. Let's get off of Israel. Bro,
well, you're afraid to. You're
let's get
afraid
off
to
of
reckon
Israel.
with the fact.
Hold on.
You're afraid to reckon with the fact that you're okay with kids being blown to pieces. What Ronald
Yeah,
Reagan
you keep on trying to say that, and
what
nobody
Ronald
believes
Reagan
that.
did,
Nobody
what Ronald
believes
Reagan
that.
did was he called the Prime Minister of Israel.
Nobody believes that.
Spoke firmly.
Nobody believes
said
that, bro.
You're committing a
Nobody
Holocaust.
believes that. Let me tell you what's wrong with the world right now. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what's wrong with the world right
I'm telling
now.
you what's wrong with the world right now.
What's wrong with the world right now? What's wrong with the world right now is that we can't have conversations without you believing that somebody having a difference in opinion from you doesn't make them immoral. That's the problem. I'm saying I don't. I'm saying that I don't care about the Israel-Hamas Palestinian war. I don't care about that conflict more than I care about what's going on in America. And you're saying I don't care about children getting bombed. Dude,
you want me saying this shit? Brother, I can have a conversation with people that disagree. I literally had a conversation with people that disagree literally yesterday. Long conversation, getting specific about the details.
You're trying to say I don't care about children getting bombed.
Yeah, because you literally said,
you
said what Israel's doing when I was talking about a literal genocide. You said that it was just Israel defending themselves. So hold on, I'm not done speaking. I'm not done speaking.
Do you think that
I'm not done speaking, brother.
I'm
not done speaking. I'm not done speaking. I'm not done speaking. If you can condemn Hamas, and I do condemn Hamas, if you can condemn Hamas, I condemn Hamas completely and fully, then you should be more than willing to condemn the IDF, who has done everything Hamas has done 10 times worse and 100 times more efficient, right? So, again, I can have conversations with people I disagree with. It's just when you want to talk instead of the economy. Our timeline of this conversation went from this. I tried to start talking about the economy. You then wanted to start talking about trans kids. I talked about the kids being bombed, and you tried to say, well, it's just defense. Come on, man. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. The American people care about the economy. The American people care about the economy, and you didn't want to talk about the economy.
We care about our
You don't want to talk about policies.
I can
Are you for?
you.
Here. Let's talk about America.
Let's
talk about America. Let's talk about America. Let's talk about America.
Then what
Let's
the hell
talk
is
about
going
America.
on in the Eastern
Let's go ahead
Hemisphere?
and talk
They
about
just-
America.
We don't care.
Are you for or
Like,
against?
literally, bro,
Are you for
I'm sorry
or
to
against?
say it.
Are you
Listen,
for or
all
against? Are you
respect to my
for
Muslims,
or against?
all respect to
Are
my
you
Jews,
for or
we
against?
just don't care
Brother.
about what's going on.
Brother,
more than we care about
are you for or against? 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 Are you for or against Trump's inflationary tariffs? You for or against the tariffs?
Oh, the tariffs? I actually like the idea of the tariffs. I think that it's going to promote people actually having to have jobs in America.
So you support it for... Wait, hold on. Let's talk real quick.
When was the last time you saw... When was the last time you saw...
Let's talk specifically about this. Let's break this down, right? So you support the tariffs because you want to see an increase in manufacturing in the United States, correct?
Yeah.
All right, that's wonderful. I want to see an increase in manufacturing in the United States. Luckily, we saw 100,000 new manufacturing jobs under Joe Biden. We saw 200,000 manufacturing jobs lost under Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, what jobs? What jobs?
The manufacturing jobs, the fucking auto industry,
jobs?
the plane
I'm not
industry,
gonna lie to you, bro.
the
The
carrier
last 4 years
factory.
sucked for me. I don't know how it was for you, but the last
That's
4 years
great,
sucked for me.
but
Again,
I'm not talking about your personal anecdotes.
what
I'm
about
talking
the
about
chat?
the literal statistics. I'm not talking about chat's anecdotes. I'm talking about the statistics. This is brother. This is brother. This is literally just a fact. 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. There was an infrastructure
Where?
bill.
Tell me when. What are these? What?
Motherfucker, dog. These are just the facts. You're getting mad at facts. You're not even getting mad at me. You're getting mad at me for listening to that. Do you want me to go into yes, I don't know. Can you not comprehend the numbers? They're in places, the swing states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, where you are. You know what I'm saying? So, again, 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, an increase in investment in manufacturing construction, which will lead to more jobs. Okay, again, you're not interested in the facts. You're interested in the talking points. You're a talking point machine, and you're dumb. So, again, you want to talk about increasing manufacturing jobs. Joe Biden has been doing that without doing tariffs, which are going to increase costs on regular people. So these tariffs, these across the board,
increase costs on regular people?
Here's a question. Who do you think pays for the tariffs?
What do you mean? The foreign businesses, they're gonna have to pay higher costs
it is
to import.
it's American
businesses.
businesses.
So listen, this is what tariffs are gonna do. This is my understanding of tariffs, and,
Okay,
and
give me your
anybody can correct
understanding.
me if I'm wrong.
I'll correct
My
you afterwards.
understanding of tariffs. Let me say it. My understanding of tariffs means that when you make a product outside of the U.S. and you bring it into the U.S., you're gonna have to pay a certain amount to bring it here, which is going to discourage you from making it outside, and it's going to encourage you from making it here, which is then going to create businesses here. It isn't gonna force you to buy a Ford. It's gonna force Toyota to make the Camry the #1 selling car, which comes from Japan, to maybe come from America.
Here, let's talk about
Buying the
tariffs.
fuck
Here,
out of the car
let's go
anyways,
ahead and
we
talk
should
about
probably
it.
make
Let's
it
go
too.
ahead. Let's go ahead and break that down, right? So you're right that companies carry the burden of tariffs, at least initially. But then to create profit up, they will just move the new cost onto the consumer. So let's specifically just say, hold on, brother, hold on. You can't talk about civility. You can't talk about civility.
Instead of just making
Yes.
it in America?
Yeah, wait, hold on. You can't talk about civility, and every time you yell, all right, every time you interrupt,
All right,
let
I'm
me
listening,
just
I'm
explain
listening.
things, right?
I got you, bro.
So we're not talking exclusively about like the highest cost things to manufacture. We're talking about even the most basic things. Let's just say a vacuum, right? A vacuum cleaner produced overseas, sold by Walmart. Maybe it takes $100 to produce. They sell it for $150 to make a $50 profit. Let's say there's a 10% new tariff on all goods coming into the United States. So it's if they find it still cheaper. Wait, hold on, brother. Hold on, I'm not done yet. If they still find it cheaper to produce outside and sell here, they will still do that. Meaning that new 10% cost into that thing will make it $160. So that they can at least keep that $150, the $50 of profit, right? When it comes to cheaper things, like t-shirts, for example, which many things like t-shirts are produced overseas because they're cheap to do. It will still be cheaper to produce them overseas than over here, but it will just be more expensive. I believe that tariffs are fine when it's targeted and specific. For example, Joe Biden did tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles with the purpose of not allowing Chinese EVs to flood the American market and hurt the American auto industry. Now that move was supported by both the bosses of the auto industry and the workers of the auto industry because it protects American auto jobs. What across the board tariffs have been found to do is just move new cost onto consumers. There was an analysis that found annually $3,000 to $4,000 in new cost, right? So that's not good. If you guys want to see lower gas prices, if you guys want to just see lower prices in general, you wouldn't support across the board tariffs because across the board tariffs are not a realistic, to be polite, are not a realistic policy that will actually help people. If you want to see an increase in manufacturing, you can invest in American manufacturing, like the CHIPS Act, which saw, I believe, at least $50 billion invested into chips manufacturing. And again, because of public investments, there was confidence to do private investments, and we've seen a boom in investing into American manufacturing. That's been happening under Biden. Now, has Biden done enough? No. Biden hasn't done the New Deal. There's still a lot more shit to do. But what Donald Trump did when it comes to bringing jobs back, he promised he would get rid of the bad trade deals. NAFTA and the TPP, you know those things?
I'm listening, man.
But do you know NAFTA and the TPP?
No, I'm not familiar.
Okay, so NAFTA and the TPP were two trade deals that made it essentially easier to ship jobs overseas. Donald Trump campaigned against those things when he was running in 2016. That can get credit for me, a person on the left, because those trade deals are bad. And he did not pass the TPP when it was presented to him. I can give credit for that. But when he then proceeds to do NAFTA, the USMCA, which is essentially NAFTA 2.0, well, there's not much credit I can give there. It's not only NAFTA 2.0, but it has provisions from the TPP, the trade deal, that he was saying was bad. So there's no credit there. He said he was going to do an infrastructure program. He didn't do an infrastructure program. He said nobody would die because of lack of insurance during his presidency. People did die, It's not like he passed Medicare for all to be, so obviously there's no universal healthcare. Somebody's not going to have coverage and they're going to die because of it. And he actually just tried to get more people off their health insurance. He did a tax cut, again, that 83% went to the top 1%. You want to talk about helping working class people, there's ways to do it. And there's policies that can affect millions. But in this conversation, and we're going to end it soon. Hold on, we're going to end this conversation soon. We're going to end this conversation soon. Hold on, let me just finish my point here. Let me just finish my point.
Let me comment on that.
Let me just finish my point here. You're not letting me finish my point, so I'm not going to let you fucking comment, brother. You're being rude as fuck, so of course I'm going to interrupt you. No, hold on, brother. Let me finish my point, because I was finishing up. Okay? So, there are policies that can be done, and I tried to talk about them in this conversation. I opened up by talking about the economy. And instead, you want to talk about the culture war. You want to talk about trans kids. When I bring, since you brought up kids being blown up. You don't think that's relevant. You don't think I genuinely don't care about the culture war. I think people can do. I think people can do things with their life, and I'm gonna focus on my life. I'm gonna mind my own fucking business. But when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the economy,
without a porn ad popping up at you, and you don't think that's relevant.
What fucking websites are you doing? What websites are you going on? You go on like fucking furry porn websites, and then you get porn websites.
And depressed, and nobody eats well, but the culture has nothing to do with it, buddy. Right? It's just all policy.
So you have, well, policy is my priority when it comes to politics. But when you, yeah, when you, what websites are you going on where you're getting flooded with porn ads? I'm just genuinely curious.
Say what?
You said every time you open the internet, you're getting flooded with porn ads. Yeah, I'm curious, what website is it?
Even on YouTube, you'll get those little TikTok short story, little weird romance ads and everything, bro. Do you not see how sex is the only thing being like sold on the internet? You don't see it?
I mean, sex sells as a marketing tactic, absolutely, but I'm gonna keep it real. When I open YouTube, excuse me, hold on. When I open YouTube, yeah, I can assure you that if you go, I don't know, look at the exit polls and you look at the concerns of the voters, the number one concern is not going to be the YouTube porn ads. But when I go on YouTube, I'm more likely to see, I don't know, fucking car dealership ads. I'm more likely to see local restaurant ads. I'm likely to see an insurance ad. You know, ads are algorithmically targeted. So I don't know why you're getting porn ads on YouTube, but I'm not. So I can't speak for you though.
Yeah, good one. Anyway. So Donald Trump spent $200 million. Donald Trump spent $200 million on ads targeting the conversation around transgenders. And won an election doing that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, in a time. Wait. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It doesn't add up.
Yeah. No,
it doesn't add up.
Again,
it doesn't add up how you're trying to make it seem like it just doesn't matter.
In the polls, we can actually look at like the issues that matter to people, right? For example, exit poll 2024.
You don't think that's one of them, right?
Deep economic discontent with Biden.
You could literally look at a map of the United States completely swept red, and you really don't think that it matters. It's incredible how oblivious you guys are to what matters.
What percentage did Kamala Harris?
It's incredible how much you guys can miss the fucking point.
What percentage did Kamala Harris and Donald Trump get?
Bro, what does that matter? What are you talking about?
I mean, when you say like oh, he won the election. The nation. He won the election.
It doesn't matter.
I understand. I understand.
He won all of the votes of who voted.
I'm not denying all of the votes of who voted. That's an interesting claim. But what I'm saying here is that you're talking like, man, you just don't understand the regular working person, as if I'm not one of the regular working people, as if you're the only regular working people out there. Meanwhile, you're talking like Donald Trump has swept the nation. He got a smaller margin of victory than Joe Biden did, than Barack Obama did, than George W. Bush did, right? Like, it's not like he had like an insane margin of victory. He won because people were not satisfied with the economy, and there was an anti-incumbency. It was an anti-incumbency election. That's pretty much it. Yeah. When you look at the issues that the issues that matter,
it has nothing to do with people that don't enjoy seeing women get beat in sports by men, right? It has nothing to do with that.
I can assure you that the Olympics boxing.
Okay, so let me ask you this, right?
I can assure you that that's not the biggest issue. Okay.
If you could say there was a percentage. If you could say there was a percentage of people that cared about boys being boys and girls being girls going back to normal and that normalcy, how much percentage of voters do you think mattered to them as to why they got up and voted for a man like Donald Trump in mind of that? How many people? By percentage.
Listen, I don't know what the fuck percentage is, but I do know for sure that the
Five?
biggest.
Do you think that maybe
I don't know what the
5% of
percentage
voters
is.
cared about trans people?
I don't know what the percentage is, but I can assure you that the
10%?
biggest issues. Do you
think that 10%
were
of
the
people care
economy.
about trans
It's
people?
I don't know how many fucking people care about fucking fake news bullshit trying to accuse a woman of being a man at the Olympics.
The majority
okay?
of Donald Trump's ads was
again,
censored on it.
That's cool, but the biggest thing about the economy or about this election was the economy. It's so interesting to me that you just don't care about the economy. You just don't care about what our military is doing. You don't care about the economy. You don't think that presidents. You don't think that the president can do anything because you're uncreative.
I've been broke for a minute. And I'm sure a lot of people watching this shit been broke for a minute. Being broke ain't the problem, bro. Niggas could live. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. We could live with being broke, bro. Right?
Yeah, people shouldn't.
We could live with being broke. That's normal. That's a part of a normal life. Living being broke. It's okay.
Yeah.
But you know what's not normal?
You know what's
not normal? What's not normal is the amount that the world has changed culturally. Since you think the culture doesn't matter.
What's not normal?
That actually matters, bro.
What's not normal is the top 0.1 of 1% getting 400% increase in their wealth since the 1970s. Well, 90%
you know what's not normal?
Got
you know what's not normal?
You don't want to talk about that because you don't want to talk about the issues that fucking matter. And you're broke, as you said, but you want to support the guy that's going to give tax cuts to your boss and not you. That's on you, man. That's literally on you. That's unfortunate.
Anyway,
it's unfortunate.
It's
unfortunate that you are a simp to the corporations. It's unfortunate that you're a bootlicker to Elon Musk. When you said that you're broke, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
You know what's not normal?
You're embarrassing, man.
Joe Biden. What's not normal is Joe Biden getting 81 million votes, the most votes.
Okay, so the election was fake. Okay, maybe people were not satisfied with the way that your guy ran the country. You ever thought about that? Maybe people weren't satisfied, brother.
Real quick.
No, you're gonna push some election conspiracy.
Yeah,
it was rigged, wasn't it? It was rigged. There's no way my guy could lose. There's no way, right? Why don't you just take a loss like a fucking man? You pussy. You're dumb.
Let me speak.
You're being weird. You say, oh man, it's so weird. Meanwhile, you're saying, oh, but the election was rigged. Donald Trump. Hey, in 2017. No, in 2017, Donald Trump did a commission after he won an election where he was looking for election fraud. And he shut down that commission because he could not find election fraud. There was research done outside of the political parties that was looking for how likely it is for an election fraud to occur in the United States. You are more likely to get struck. You are more likely to get struck by lightning.
I just want to say something.
If you want to be concerned about the electoral process, you can look at the fact that there's voter suppression, right? You can look at the fact that somebody might be in the military and they might be based out of a military base, but then they're deployed somewhere and then
let me have a moment.
No, you're on my show, so I'm going to say what I'm saying.
This real quick.
You said a lot of dumb things, so I'm responding to your dumb things. You're saying that the election was stolen. Give me some evidence. 60 cases. Yes.
81 million votes. 81 million votes. I haven't seen a Joe Biden bumper sticker, a hat, a T-shirt.
Bumper stickers don't vote. Bumper stickers don't vote.
Where are those
What the
people?
fuck are you talking
Where are those
about?
people? Where are the Joe Biden voters?
You don't trust. You don't.
Do the
Okay.
Joe Biden voters really exist?
I cannot emphasize how silly you are pretending like bumper stickers vote. That is the dumbest shit that you've said in this conversation.
What do you mean?
And
You're
you're
telling me
shit.
you can't identify support? I mean, Jesus Christ, you can't even drive around
You-
without seeing some Trump support somewhere.
Yeah, because Trump supporters are annoying. What the fuck are you talking about?
Obama won.
He didn't win because of bumper stickers.
You can see support from all over. You saw.
Yeah, Obama didn't win.
You saw.
Obama didn't win.
When Barack Obama won.
Obama did not win because of a bumper sticker.
Bro, I didn't say he won because of a bumper sticker. I said
People, there are people. Hey, here. Let me give you an answer. There's people, No, it's not weird.
81 million people voted for Joe Biden, but all of a sudden, all of those people that voted
Go win a court case, dog.
Kamala and
Go win in a court case.
Trump.
Well,
where
again.
the hell are those 9 million missing votes that Kamala couldn't have, bro? Where
Yeah,
are they at?
excitement was down. Donald Trump was president.
The
The
excitement
economy
was
was
down.
bad. The economy
Wow.
was bad.
What was so exciting about
Excuse
Biden?
me. Hold on. You want to beg to be able to speak it. You don't let anybody else speak. So here's what happened, right? There was people like me who don't particularly like Joe Biden, especially at that point in time, but they saw the alternative. They saw how the economy was doing at that time. They saw the state of the world, and they were like,
81 million people.
I'll go vote for a change, right?
You really believe 81 million people voted for Joe Biden?
What is shocking to you about that? Do you
It's
have
the
like
most
do
votes
you
of
have
all time.
again? Do you have like this has gone to court a bunch of times. You know what
He
happened
got
to
the
60
most
court
votes
cases?
of all time.
60 court cases about this shit, and it failed. There were audits in places like Arizona that end up finding, oh wait, yeah, a little bit more votes for Joe Biden. My bad.
Okay,
We
all right.
missed it.
You know what? I have a question.
So again, you've
I
been
have a
proving
question.
throughout this entire conversation, you refuse to
I have a
talk about the
question.
issues that matter. You think
I have a
bombing kids
question.
is okay. Instead of
I have
talking
a
about kids
question.
being blown up, you want to talk
Do
about
you
kids
think
playing
that?
sports.
Do you think
you
that
want
the
to check
do you
kids'
think that do
genitals
you
or
think
some
that the
shit. You're a
legal and
freak.
justice system has been used against Donald Trump to prevent him from being able to run?
No.
You don't think that people have been using the justice system as means for political lawfare?
No.
You don't think so? So the 34
Unless you
felonies
wanna
against Donald
accuse-
Trump in Manhattan.
Unless you want to accuse,
34 felonies.
yeah, I mean,
The
he
34
was
felonies
found,
against Donald Trump
he
in
was found
Manhattan.
guilty
You don't think
and
that
he
was a little weird?
Found, he was found guilty in a jury of his peers. I mean, bring it up to the
he
jury.
he was
Bring it up
charged.
to the
He
jury.
was charged.
Bring it up to the jury. Bring it up to the jury. That's how court cases work. Do you think anybody like commits a crime and then the jury's like, yeah, they're guilty? Oh man, this is lawfare
Yeah.
against me. Don't be fucking dumb.
Okay, so
All right.
so I have
He
a
also was
question,
found
right?
civilly
So
liable
he
for
was set
sexual
for-
assault. He
he
was
was-
found
he was set for
liable for
sentencing.
fraud, etc.,
He was set
etc.,
for
etc.
sentencing. He was set for sentencing this week.
And yeah, and they're delaying
Right.
because he's president of the United States.
so
And we actually
they're
do
gonna
not
delay
have we do not have we have a two-tiered system in the American justice system. One for the rest of us and one for the powerful. And Donald Trump is part of that club that you will never be part of, even though you have simped for throughout this conversation. You defended Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. He's part of that club, brother. And he's president of the United
Yeah,
States.
here
So
we
there
are.
is
Let's
there
villainize
is
wealth and
genuinely
success more,
Oh
like-
yes, yeah. You literally self-described as broke. And you're shitting on me for saying that, the tax code should not be written exclusively to
Do
benefit
you think
the
that
top
me
1%.
being broke is a way that I identify myself as?
You said it yourself. You identified as broke.
I
mean,
said
I'm
I'm
just
broke.
saying
I didn't
that.
say that that's how I identify. That's not my identity, bro. That's not
Yeah,
who I am.
brother,
that's not,
when you
that's
say
not my
I'm
political
broke,
views.
when you're
So
saying
you think,
I'm
so
broke,
you think that
when you're saying
because I'm
I'm
broke,
broke,
I
dog.
can't agree with Donald Trump? So because
No,
I'm
you
broke,
can-
I'm not
you can
welcome
have
to the
whatever
club
you-
that Elon Musk is in?
Yeah,
That's
they
what
don't
you're
want to
saying?
welcome. They don't want to welcome you in. They don't give a fuck
Right?
about you.
Me,
Yes,
so
I can
so
say
me
that.
and Elon don't find the same memes funny, right? Is that what you're saying? It's not relatable?
Is that what you think I'm talking about? Finding memes funny?
That's what I'm trying to understand. So why do you think that the
You wanna
difference
know
in
what
how
I'm
much
talking
money I
about?
have is
You
what
wanna
matters
talk-
to me?
You want to know what I'm talking about?
Buddy,
wanna know what I'm talking about?
Buddy, let me tell
You
you
want to know
something.
what I'm talking
Bro,
about?
money
no,
is
you
not
asked me what I'm
everything.
talking about.
Money
I'm
is
going to tell you
not
what I'm talking
everything.
about. You want to know?
You know what matters
wanna
to
know?
me?
You want to know?
What matters
right?
to me
You
is
wanna know.
women's rights not being infringed upon.
Yeah.
I
What
think that
matters to you is the culture
woman is a
war.
woman.
What matters to you is the culture war, not
A
the
woman-
economy. You don't care
a
about
woman
the
is a
economy.
human female.
You're broke.
A
and
woman-
you support the
a
guy.
woman has
you support
XX
the guy that's writing
chromosomes.
the tax code that's
All
going to
right?
screw you.
And
right?
as long
So
as
again,
the Democrat
why
Party
is
doesn't
it- why
understand that a
is it-
woman has
brother,
XX chromosomes, I'm going
brother,
to stand with the
brother,
side that does.
brother.
As
Yeah.
long
So,
as the conversation
okay.
can't get past
Okay.
that, then that's exactly where I draw my line. If you don't understand that
my
a
friend,
woman
my friend,
is a human female
brother.
with XX
Slow down,
chromosomes,
slow down.
then
I
you
heard your
will
point.
never
You're repeating
understand
yourself.
where I'm coming from.
You're repeating yourself, brother.
And that's
You're repeating
the
yourself.
how that Donald
You're
Trump,
repeating yourself.
Elon Musk, and
Sure.
I stand on.
Yeah, you say I like you're part of the club. It's
Genders,
pathetic.
That's it. Just like
say-
Philip,
Dog.
the traveling kangaroo.
This is ridiculous, dog.
That's it.
This is ridiculous. You're saying it's me, Donald Trump, and Elon Musk. It's the side we stand on. They don't know you, little bro. They don't know you. They don't know you like that. They don't give a fuck about you. What I'm talking about when I say you're not part of the club, what I say when you're not part of the club, excuse me, I'm talking, man. I'm talking. No. What I'm a woman is whoever I want to fuck. All right. So again, going back, I gave you the answer. A woman
is a
whoever
woman?
I find attractive. All right. So again, I gave you an answer. What are you
What is
talking
a
about?
woman?
A woman's whoever I want to fuck.
What is a woman?
Whoever I want to fuck. All right. So again, yeah.
Buddy.
So again, going back to what I was saying about the club.
And this is the problem. The Democrats run this idea of protecting women's rights. How are you going to protect women's rights when you don't know what a woman is?
I gave you my definition. You still want to accept my definition. You don't want to accept my definition, but that's okay. But again, talking about the club. Again, hold on. You put on hold. I need you to shut up for a second, okay? What I was talking about when I was saying the club, okay? I'm not talking about what memes you fucking find funny. I'm talking about the fact that the tax code is written for them and not you. I'm talking about the fact that trade policies have been written to send jobs that you could have had overseas. I'm talking about the fact that they're doing tariffs for whatever ideological reasons that they have, when everybody knows it's going to increase cost, but it'll be fine for them and not you. I didn't say you identify as broke. You just literally identify yourself. I am a broke guy. That's what you said. That's not you saying my entire identity is being broke, but that's what you said you are. Of course, that's not. So you said that's what you are, though. You said that's what you are. So hold on, let me finish my point real quick. When I talk about the club, it's the same way George Carlin's talking about the club. There's a lot of motherfuckers with power, and you're not one of those people. You are a self-described broke person, and you are voting against your economic interests because you want to talk about kids doing sports instead of kids being bombed. And that's honestly pathetic, but we're going in circles, so I appreciate your time. So have a good night, okay? See you later. That was some good content, my guys. All right, let's check chat. Chat! Ugh! That was straining on the throat. All right, let's see here. Is this the same guy? All right, another guy. All right, let's go into it. I was gonna read chat, but you called up, so let's talk. What's on your mind?
Hey, man. I'm loving this.
Yes. What's up?
My name is James. I'm 23. I voted for Trump. Me and my fiance voted for Trump.
Nice.
One thing I wanted to touch on is, and I hate this, and I will agree, I hate Trump's plan on this.
Yeah.
Is the Israel versus Palestine conflict. I hate it.
Yeah.
Right? I can't stand Israel. I can't stand Palestine either. I think both sides should just stop.
No. Well, look. I don't want to do a equating of both sides, right? You know, one side is being slaughtered. One side is backed by the global superpower, right? One side is.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think what we need to do, I think we can agree on this, is because you don't like what Israel's doing, I assume, we should at least stop supplying them with weapons, right? We should be not giving knives to who we know are serial killers, you know?
I agree.
All right. Yeah, that's good. It's unfortunate. I saw a good amount of people that are interested in peace in that region, but, you know, they would fall for sort of anti-war rhetoric, but Donald Trump would also literally say, sometimes in the same event, that Israel is being held back and we're going to let them do whatever they want to do. But, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing is a shift, at least in the Democratic base, against Israel. So that's nice.
Yeah. It's sad to see a lot of people pull kind of like a blindfold over their eyes.
Yeah. Like the last guy.
And not admit. Yeah, I want to admit when there's things I don't like, you know?
Yes.
There are things he says, there's things he does that are dumb,
Yes.
and that I can't get behind. So I wanted to start off with common ground.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think it's unfortunate when, like, for example, the last guy, right? He was real passionate about this stuff. You know, he'll bring up, I don't know, trans kids or whatever. But since he brought up kids, of course, I'm going to bring up the kids being bombed. I think that's a more pressing matter, but I guess he didn't. And he did say Israel's just defending themselves. So it seems like he made his opinion on the matter pretty clear, which, you know, it says a lot. But it is what it is. Yeah. That's kind of MAGA for you.
Yeah, I mean, a question I think that needs to be asked on, you know, on a larger scale is Israel has a massive Iron Dome defense system.
Yeah.
How did these people get through that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, my understanding is most of the rockets was able to be stopped. Most of like the actual deaths on October 7th were like like on the ground stuff or something like that, like at that music festival. Either way, I can say, I condemn what Hamas did. Of course, I condemn murder, right? But if I can condemn Hamas and people can find what Hamas did absolutely vile, then people, if they're consistent, should find what Israel does on a daily basis all the time absolutely vile, Unfortunately, there's a good amount of people that defend it,
Yeah, it's awful to see, 'cause I don't like to say I'm a Republican. I don't like a lot of what Republicans do or stand for. People like Mitt Romney are disgusting. But
and the neocons, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing with Trump is he's been flooding his cabinet with neocons. which is crazy.
Very depressing news to wake up to.
But honestly, I expected it.
I was hoping he would do something different, but I mean, what can you do? They're kind of everywhere.
Yeah, it's they're definitely hard to avoid. I was hearing some reporting with Kamala, at least, that she would have potentially at least targeted some of the hawks that were in the Biden administration, because honestly, her role in the Biden administration, she wasn't really like a favorite, right? She wasn't favored. She wasn't given a lot of work. She wasn't given a lot of time to shine. But I was looking forward to potentially if she could get rid of like some of those motherfuckers that have been kind of the faces of the pro-Israel shit that our government's been up to. If there was a chance that she did that, which I think was better than what Trump was saying, where he was essentially saying, we're going to let Israel do whatever the hell they want. Finish the job. That's what he said. Finish the job.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm sure there are some stuff you probably agree with Trump on, though, which is why you voted for him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. How about
the tariffs?
Border. Tariffs, I like the sound of it.
Because look, I'm not inherently against tariffs, right? I don't know if you heard in the last conversation when we were going on about tariffs, because it was a long conversation. You might have just scrolled across the screen or the stream. But, when, for example, Joe Biden does a tariff on Chinese EVs, the purpose is to make it not profitable to flood the market with Chinese EVs or buy the Chinese EVs for consumers, which then protects American auto manufacturing. I think that's a fair thing to do. I think that's reasonable. I understand it. But, when Donald Trump is talking specifically about across-the-board tariffs, which every economist will say will raise prices not just in the United States but across the world, it's no good to me. I think 20% he's been talking about on all goods, 60% specifically on goods from China. He's floated around getting rid of income tax and having the tariffs exclusively pay for everything, which tariffs will not make up our budget. What he's promising is either massive cuts to like the social programs, the safety net, or just more deficit spending, which he's not afraid of doing. He raised the deficit significantly when he was president, right? But that's what we're going to deal with the next 4 years.
Right. I think you could definitely say that COVID had a huge impact on, the deficit.
Under his presidency?
I think. What was that?
Yeah, COVID had a big impact on the deficit while he was president, I'm assuming you're saying?
Yeah.
That's fair to say.
Yeah, and then,
it spiked it. It spiked it at the end, but the thing is he was gradually increasing it each year when before him, Obama had a trajectory, whether we like Obama or not. I'm not particularly a fan of Obama, but he was cutting the deficit almost every single year of his presidency to the point by around 2016, I believe, or 2015. It was at pre-recession levels, which is pretty good. I mean, he obviously had to increase it dramatically after the recession for the recovery, but he lowered it significantly, and Donald Trump reversed the trend. Donald Trump saw the tax cuts for the rich, which cut revenue while he was increasing spending, which was gradually raising the deficit, and then, of course, COVID happened, which, not great. Not great. You there? Hello? You there? Did we lose connection? Hopefully the internet did not drop. No, the internet's still going. Chat, everything's still moving on your end. Chat, everything's still moving on your end. I think it is. Yeah, everything's moving. Alright, until this guy comes back, I guess I'll read chat for now. Is it the same guy? Is that what he said? Oh yeah, it's the same guy. Alright. Hello?
Hey, sorry,
Yeah,
that call
I don't know
dropped.
what happened there. Yeah. But yes, Donald Trump, after years of the deficit being cut under Obama, started increasing the deficit by doing tax cuts, cutting revenue dramatically for the sake of the 1%, and then while increasing spending on things like the military. And then obviously COVID led to a spike, and I will, from the deficit hawk perspective, at least you could say with Biden, he's cut the deficit from, the end of the Trump presidency. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to his economic promises today, he's going to make it more expensive for the rest of us if he even gets 1% of his policy promises in.
I mean, I will 100% support his income. I think that is so desperately needed.
Which one?
Especially if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong on this. This might be a different tax.
Yeah.
I think the income tax was actually created for the First World War, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember exactly which war, whether it was the Civil War or the First World War. I do think there is probably an origin with the income tax and war. The thing is this, like, we can talk about 19th century economics, but 19th century economics is different than 21st century, even 20th century economics. And if we have a multi-trillion-dollar budget for services that are important, that shouldn't just be cut just because they exist. And tariffs can't make that. Tariffs can't make that up, though. They can't replace what income tax and other tax provides. With tariffs, you can maybe get, if we're going to talk 10% of the 10% tariff, right, that he's proposing, 10% or 20%, you can maybe get like $300-400 billion from it, and that's assuming nothing related to trade changes, which when you have tariffs, part of the purpose of tariffs is to disincentivize importing, right? Meaning that if we're doing tariffs on literally everything, you will likely see that the amount of things being brought into the country will just go down year by year. So what Donald Trump's proposing when he's saying like replace our revenue essentially with a tariff, because something about like who's the president he's been obsessed with? William McKinley, right?
I haven't actually heard that.
He's been hyper fixating on some like 19th century president that he's saying, he loves tariffs and he did tariffs. Tariffs are the most beautiful word in the English language. He did tariffs and we had so much money from it. But Donald Trump's not addressing the actual money we would actually get, which was about $300 billion, $400 billion, assuming nothing changes. But then if year by year imports go down, then that will also mean revenue goes down. That will also mean that we can't pay for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, food stamps, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which would literally kill people.
I see where you're coming from. I mean, and we have to also be honest with ourselves. Social Security is a dead horse that we're
I completely disagree.
Beating.
I
mean, there's no way. I think I've seen figures from I think it's like 2030, maybe 2050. It'll be completely dried up, and there'll be no money to pay.
Let's address the Social Security. Social Security is one of the only programs that I'm aware of that have never missed, a single check when they were due, right? Social Security also has a fund that was established during even the Reagan era, which has essentially a reserve of money.
Yeah.
And that's what people are saying, like, oh, if we literally do nothing now to fund Social Security more through that fund, through those reserves, then we will go dry by 2050. But you're aware of, like, the Social Security cap, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if we raise the cap, then we would generate a tremendous amount of money. You know, it's something Bernie talked about a lot. And, you know, if you really want a boring explainer about Social Security, I recommend Sam Cedar talking about it. The point is, like, if we just get rid of that limit, that cap, which mainly protects the wealth of very wealthy people,
Yeah.
then yeah, Social Security will be perfectly fine. In addition, also, you know, if we don't just like, if we make it actually a much more efficient system to immigrate to America, which we should, in order to actually stop illegal immigration, you know, one of the best things we have that other countries don't have, whether we're talking about the countries in Europe, whether we're talking about Japan, whether we're talking about China, is we have continued population growth in a positive direction. Meaning that we will continue to have this foundation of young workers that are supporting the older people, because there's just less older people than there are younger people in the United States, and in a situation where we have immigration and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, you have China, who created a crisis for themselves, where they have the opposite, essentially a mushroom-shaped graph, where now that...
Yeah, I've seen that in Japan, too.
Yeah, Japan has
Japan's
it, too.
Definitely struggling.
And they now need to figure out a way to support their social safety net. Luckily, we're good. We're good. So that's something to be optimistic about America.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I truly believe that Social Security is more so a, I think it's more stealing than anything. Because really, I mean, you invest, if you took the money that you would put into Social Security and you invested it instead, I think at like a 5% return, you would be so much better off. You know, if we had these systems set up for people to invest that money rather than handing it to the government, because I don't trust the government. Even if Trump is president, I don't trust it in the slightest. So them handling our money and then giving it back, I think that we should just set up systems for Americans to invest that money. You know,
well, I mean, this is what I would say.
I think it would definitely be better.
I personally, you know, it's important that I'm just direct and honest about my disagreement. Excuse me. Feel a burp coming up. I don't think that it would be a wise thing to essentially depend on put our elders' revenue in the hands of the unstable force that we know as the stock market. And if we look at the establishment of Social Security, right, you know, it was in the 1930s. It was after the Depression, where we saw such rampant, silly investing and speculation in the stock market. Then we saw a collapse. And when it comes to Social Security today, it currently lifts 22 million Americans out of poverty. When it came to its establishment, it essentially lifted every, I don't know about every elderly person, but a significant portion, the significant majority, right? Here's the historical background and development. Let me look at this real quick. I'm just kind of curious how many people it lifted out of poverty at the time. Let's see here. I'm just curious. Let's see. Here, radical calls to action, every man a king, town movement, fire Dawn. Too much information, man. These articles just got to get straight to the point. Here, the Google has a little thing here. Following the outbreak of the Depression, poverty among the elderly grew dramatically. The best estimates that over half the elderly were in poverty, and Social Security pretty much ended that. Right, and like I said, in the modern day, 22 million people are kept out of poverty because of it. I'd rather have a government program which directly puts money into people's hands than saying, hey, you know, put your trust into the market that has failed us so many times, and let's hope that your money just goes up, you know? So, yeah, I mean, like I said, there's practical solutions to keeping Social Security afloat. It is definitely not a dead horse, in my view. In fact, we could honestly expand it when we get rid of that cap. We can expand the benefits.
I mean, I would love to see work done on it, you know, so that I would feel more confident in it. But as it is right now, I don't feel confident, and it sucks. You know, me being 23, I don't know what the future of that is. Whereas somebody who's, my grandfather is just retiring, I think next week, and he gets to reap those rewards, but I'm not sure if I ever will.
Well, it's progressives, not necessarily establishment Democrats, and definitely not the Republican as it stands today. But also, I'm not saying there can't be a progressive Republican. But if progressives are able to get into office one of these days, and I think they will eventually, I can assure you your Social Security will be protected. Just like how progressives established Social Security in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, honestly, one of the things we're hearing in this conversation is we are mostly in agreement about what we want to see in the future, right?
Right.
We want to see a meritocracy where hard work is the main factor in whether or not you will be a successful person or a rich person or whatever. And as it stands right now, we don't have that. And I don't think that in a system where, since the 70s, the top 1% have gotten a 200% increase in their wealth, or 200 something, and the top 0.1% have gotten a 400% increase in their wealth, and we regular folks have gotten a 28% increase in our wealth. That's not efficient, and that's not going to set up America into being an actual proper meritocracy. We just need to make the starting line equal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, as I could definitely, obviously this is a one case. This is, just my experience. But, I mean, I was 19 or 18, and I was only working at Dunkin' Donuts. I was making $8 an hour.
Yeah.
Making $250 a week, and I was renting a place with my friend and my now fiance. We were renting a
Congratulations,
house.
by the way.
Thank you. It's definitely tough. We're setting everything up, but it's looking good.
Yeah.
But $250 a week. I was renting a house. We had amazing. We had everything set right. We were able to afford food, gas. We had 2 or 3 cars. And then just moving in now, we make $800, and we are struggling very much. And it's one of those things. Especially, we're in a very unique situation now with Trump versus Harris. Is we've seen both administrations at work.
Yeah. And
we can weigh the benefits and how much money was in your pocket versus how much money was not in each administration, and I think the average American feels
how old did you say you were? You were 22?
Safe. I'm 23.
23? Oh yeah, I'm
20.
I'm 23 as well. 24 soon too. But yeah, I mean, for us, I mean, I feel like we didn't really get the best view of what the Trump administration was really like economically, because we, I'm assuming we were both living with our parents because we were in high school.
No, I was out at 17.
Oh wow,
just,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but the main point I'm saying is the problem with Trump and Harris and Biden is that none of them, I feel, are actually interested in dealing with a lot of the underlying issues. We've been living in what I would call a sort of neoliberal era, right, since the 70s and 80s, especially Ronald Reagan really sped it up, where we just kind of have had this. A lot of governments are governing with just the focus of how well is the stock market going to do, how well is the 1% going to do, and people haven't really been concerned with our needs, and that's why we've seen the rampant growth in income and wealth inequality. You know, and the thing is, what I'm optimistic is, at least, is one, now that Trump won, it'll encourage Democrats to think a bit more introspectively, to think what we have been doing wrong. And we've been doing a lot of things that are wrong. Particularly, we haven't been as populist as we should have been. And there's a lot of people now in the Democratic Party that are saying, it's time we actually talk about the shit that matters. Right? Now, I mean, you have people like Bill Maher, who's actually probably a lot more aligned with the last person that was on stream, and I think he's still in the chat right now. That thinks that the issue that really matters is transgender people. and whether or not, and they want to check the genitals to make sure that, oh, is this a real woman going into the woman's bathroom or whatever? No. If we want to win, we need to talk about the kitchen table issues. We need to talk about actually lowering the cost of housing. We need to deal with the fact that we have the same issues that we have had in the Gilded Age. Actually, we have worse inequality than we had in the Gilded Age right now. You can check me on that, but that's an insane fact. But we have the same issues: higher cost and lower wages. You know, so I mean, our wages going up slightly, but if the top 0.11% is getting 400% increase, and we're getting 28%, clearly there's something going wrong there. When union membership goes down, and then we see corporate profits and CEO profits go up together, and our wages stay stagnant, essentially, going up, but going up slightly, there's an issue there. And, you know, now I think Democrats are at least going to move away from the neoliberalism. And I would say, to credit Joe Biden, I can't credit him with a lot because of the Israel stuff. He really fucked up his legacy because of that. But on economics, at least he did a lot of programs that were actually investing in America, from the infrastructure program to the CHIPS Act, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? And we did see manufacturing increase, and we did see a more labor-friendly government. A National Labor Relations Board that was good. Lena Khan was doing antitrust at the FTC. But, you know, things will happen, and we'll see what occurs in the next 4 years.
Right. I mean, I wish, you know, what he did was, you know, more beneficial. I mean, when we look at his, you know, manufacturing job growth, a lot of it was just recoveries.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely there was recovery, but there was still jobs that were not bounced back. Like, it still continued after all the jobs we lost had recovered. And the big indicator is there was a big investment in manufacturing. So there's things being constructed today that would mean more jobs, like a bit. If, say, Kamala Harris won, right? And let's say none of the policy related to trade or jobs or manufacturing was touched at all,
right,
you would see another boom of manufacturing jobs because of those investments happening today. I actually was looking at the graph, and I was just curious about this. I looked at Trump's era, and he actually saw a stagnation the moment he got in of investment into manufacturing construction, and then the manufacturing job growth that was happening under Obama did actually slow down and decrease about 1 or 2 years later into Trump's administration as a direct result of the investment in manufacturing going down. And now we're seeing an investment unlike we've seen since World War II. It's that high. It's that dramatic. So my concern is if Trump does, say, the tariffs, which makes even the importation of raw materials and the tools to collect raw materials more expensive. If he does things like the mass deportation, which will cripple the construction industry because a good portion of those who work in construction are undocumented people. All these things, well, if you're a person that's investing in the creation of a factory, you're a little less motivated to make that factory. You know what I'm saying? So, and you're looking at some place like China as a more stable market. Because no matter how you feel about the Communist Party or Xi Jinping or any of those guys, at least you can feel confident that they, almost like in a technocratic way, they want the economy to grow. They probably want manufacturing to grow, etc. You know.
I mean, I think they're only really able to keep those prices and manufacturing costs so low in China. I mean, they're really just using slave labor, and
yeah, it is cheap labor.
You know,
that's why I want to see the jobs come here.
So, yeah, and I think those tariffs will incentivize people to come back. You know, we could start mining again here. We could start drilling for oil here.
But the thing is, we've already been doing that under Biden. Like we broke records when it came to drilling. You know, so it's not even my thing.
If I'm not mistaken, he pretty much emptied our reserves just for good press, and now it's left us in a horrible state where we have no reserves.
I don't think we need to fill those reserves. I remember our reserves were used, but I don't think it was empty. And it was done when gas prices were like at its highest. So I think honestly that's a fair time
Yeah.
to use the reserves when gas prices are so extremely high. But when it just comes to production, the thing about like when I've spoken specifically to Republicans running for Congress, and when you ever ask them a question about how you do anything, like literally anything, whether you're talking about like, hey, how are you going to lower the cost of childcare? How are you going to lower the cost of healthcare? How are you going to lower the cost of housing? They only say, we need to drill. Man, we just need more drilling. Drill, baby, drill. And the thing is, under Biden, we are literally the highest producers of oil in the world. It's not China. It's not Russia. It's not Saudi Arabia. It's not Iran. It's us. And we've only been increasing.
Yeah, but a lot of the oil we are selling off to other countries instead of just using it ourselves. We're selling the oil off and then buying back.
I say this as a capitalist, but that's an issue with capitalism. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, it really is. And
yeah.
I love capitalism, but I don't think the U.S. even is remotely what it used to be.
I mean, maybe what we could do.
Capitalism.
Maybe what we could do. I don't know if you fully agree with this. If we want to directly have, like, say, if like you're a legislator, and you want to have more say in, say, lowering the cost of gas here by making sure that oil that's produced here actually goes here, right?
Yeah.
We might need to just nationalize the oil companies. I don't know. It's just an idea. We might not have to do that, but if we actually want to make sure that so much of our gas isn't just used to make a couple oil executives happy and a little bit more rich,
right.
Instead, actually lower the cost of things like fuel, then we might need to nationalize. Maybe. But it's not a guarantee.
I think it's more of an issue is we need more smaller businesses. We need to break up these monopolies.
100% agree with you. We need to break up the oil companies again.
Yeah. Exactly.
Would love to see
mean,
that.
they're pretty much governments in their own right. I mean, I don't know if you've seen what they've done in I think it was Ecuador or southern countries like that. Is they've come in, they drilled up, and then they've dumped these toxic chemicals, and then they're bribed their way out of it, and nobody can touch them because they're so massive.
100%.
And
100%. And then when the native people in those countries try to go after them, they literally fucking actually kill them. It's actually insane.
Yeah, and I just don't think I think we'd have a lot better time economically, just in every general aspect of everything.
Yes.
Our way of lives would just be way better if we didn't have these massive monopolies.
That's the thing, though. That's
everything.
The thing. That was genuinely one of the reasons I voted for Biden. And this isn't to say Biden's amazing. Or, excuse me. This is why I voted for the Democrats, why I voted for Kamala. This isn't to say that the last Democratic administration was everything I wanted it to be, right? But the fact that they had Lena Khan preventing mergers and acquisitions as the chair of the Federal Trade Commission. That's amazing.
Right.
I love to see that. That was the first time we had someone actually using their power to be anti-monopoly, antitrust in decades. And now Donald Trump his chief of staff is a corporate lobbyist. He's letting random billionaires just run random departments. Like fucking Vince McMahon's wife is now gonna run the Department of Education for some fucking reason. Whether we like the WWE or not, what the fuck does she know about education? Well, I think the big reason is they want to get rid of the department and they're just putting someone to oversee the destruction of the department.
Right.
But I mean, he's taking so much oil money. That's the problem with Republicans, right? I saw Tim Walz, whether you like him or not, right? He made this tweet recently after the election where he was just doing governor things. He was at the opening of a new solar panel field, right? Cool.
Right.
He said 150 homes are going to get new power because of this. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. We can agree that that's a good thing to produce more energy. And doing it in alternative ways that make us less dependent on oil actually helps us become more energy independent, in my view. Right? And Republicans
I will agree with that.
Yeah. Because like for me, I don't say get rid of oil day one, but if one day we can stop using oil or coal, that'd be great. But until that day comes, we just need to produce in as many ways as possible. But I saw so many conservatives in those comments being like, "Oh yeah, were those panels made in China?" Now I don't know if they were or not. Either way, they're giving energy to Americans, and if they were made in China, what does that say about us? Maybe we need to start producing more fucking solar panels so we can actually compete in that market and not let China just exclusively dominate the alternative energy market.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, I see.
And
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of solar panels and things like that. I think they do more harm to the environment. You know, the amount of toxic chemicals that are in solar panels, that when they go to break them down and throw them away, they're just seeping chemicals into the ground. I honestly think that nuclear is the way to go.
I've been seeing. I don't know if I fully agree with what you're saying about solar panels, but I do actually. I've seen a lot of support for nuclear among like more progressive-minded people. They're actually moving towards a sort of like, maybe we got to be open to this nuclear thing. AOC has been one of those people that's like, I was against nuclear back in the day, but the more I read up on it, the more good it actually seems, which is a sentiment I've been seeing with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm open to it. I think
I'm very open to it. It's just
this Tasm Ingram person in chat, I think, was the person that was the last caller. It's so funny. He's legitimately the dumbest motherfucker. Dude thinks we could stop using oil. I literally said until we can get to that point, we still gotta use oil. Like, what are you talking about? We just need to do more. We need more fucking energy, period. And that includes things like nuclear. Things like solar.
It just takes a long time. It takes a long time. Because, we use oil in every facet of our lives.
Yeah. It'll take time, but we
do need to step away from that.
We need to start looking at it like we need to start looking at it like a war. You know what I'm saying? When like the time came with World War II, when we started putting our efforts into the war machine because we needed to, we got to work.
Yeah.
America has the capability to get to work, to face every single challenge. Every single challenge that we have is a massive opportunity in my view. Climate change or whatever, whether somebody believes it or not, I personally believe it's real. Most scientists agree with me. And I view it as a massive opportunity to better the lives of Americans by bringing in like a thriving alternative energy industry, right? We can have a sort of new deal in a way, investing in job creation. So I think I think we're in a wonderful, as bad as things are, we have the potential to be in a wonderful situation in the future. So.
Right.
Yeah. With that in mind, any last things you want to say before I move on?
Sure. I wish that people a lot of the time would just stop with personal attacks, because really more than anything, we have different ways of getting to the same goal.
100%.
We want the same thing. We want a better country, a better world.
100%.
And there's obviously things we can agree on. There's going to be things that we will never agree on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like talking to people that disagree.
Yeah. No, I gotta say, I appreciate you coming on directly after the dumbass from the last thing. I know you said you want to see more conversation without less attacks. I personally am of the mindset I will match the energy of the person I'm talking to. And you are a great example of someone that can come on, have disagreements, talk in a civil way, actually listen to what the other person's saying. I was listening to what you're saying, and I tried, for example, with the Social Security conversation, you had concerns about it, and I tried to address your specific concerns, right? Conversations can happen, folks. This is for you guys in the chat. Conversations can happen. They can be productive. They can be civil. You can disagree, and you can express that disagreement. You can be honest about that disagreement, but you don't have to be fucking dumb. So, I'm talking about the last caller. Fucking, what's your area code? 570 area code. I'm talking about you, buddy. But Mr. 850 area code, I hope you and your fiance do well in the future, And I look forward to a more progressive government that will positively affect you and your family. Thank you for your time, man. All right, see you later. I think his call might have dropped there. Or his connection might have dropped. All right, let's check out the chat before I end the stream. Tesla is a nice drive, nice tech, but it feels cheap in a lot of places. Yeah, Tesla's no good. Thanks, man. Dude, you're a terrible triggered host. You should want conservatives to be in here to talk with. You should want conservatives in here to talk with. I was talking to a conservative right now, I believe, and earlier, and I'm talking to you guys in the chat. Beetle, it was Beetle Huns that said disconnected. Thank you for coming on, Beetle Huns. Taz says, I heard him. No, I called you a dumbass. Who was this? 518 area code. All right, let's have a conversation. One more thing. All right, let's make it pretty quick because we've been streaming for a bit, but what's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good, brother.
It's kind of funny how you say you want to have conversations, but I was trying to have a conversation with you the other night, and you hung up on me. So
what,
how would we do this? How would I explain something
wait,
real quick?
Wait, real quick. Were you the guy that was like freaking out yesterday, or what?
No,
you're different.
not yesterday. It was the day before, maybe.
Because yesterday was when I put in the call-in number, but okay. Who are you?
I don't know who you're talking about, but whatever. How about we do this? How about I explain something to you, and then when I get off the conversation, get off the phone, and then you can debate it or do whatever you want with it. But allow me to explain.
No, that's not how this stream works. When I hear something I disagree with, I'll tell you the disagreement. It's your choice.
Right, but then you interrupt me and then hang up on me. So how about we do this?
I will be as civil as I want to be, and I'll match your energy. We can have a conversation.
So basically, you're full of shit.
Yeah, last guest.
So basically, okay. So how about you allow me to talk?
Excuse me.
You can talk after I'm done talking. How about that?
Excuse me. The last guest that I had a wonderful conversation with. I don't know if you were listening or not, but conversations are possible. But when you're coming in here saying, "Why don't you just let me talk and monologue uninterrupted?"
No, how about
I'm
you
not going
allow
to do
me
that.
to
This is a
explain
debate
something
show.
before you hang up on me.
I'm just establishing the basic shit here. Right? You don't come into somebody else's brother. You don't come into a conversation and be like, okay, let me monologue.
You're the one who's raising their voice. I'm trying to have a civil conversation with you. I'm trying to establish some civil. I'm trying to establish the civil dialogue with you. You can't even acknowledge that.
You're not interested in that. You want to monologue and monologue uninterrupted.
So
I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. When I hear some bullshit, I will interrupt. Okay.
Are you going to allow me to say anything or no?
I'm just establishing the rules before you continue. That I will interrupt whenever the fuck I feel like, and I'm not going to let you endlessly monologue.
You basically aren't going to allow me to
speak. But go ahead. I will just interrupt when I feel like interrupting.
Are you going to allow me to talk now?
I'm letting you speak. Go ahead.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
Okay, so we established that you really have never owned a business, correct?
Oh, yeah, you were the business guy yesterday. Yeah, I never owned a business.
Okay, so the U.S. is a business.
The U.S. is not a business.
And imagine that you got... Are you going to allow me to talk?
I disagree with that notion that the U.S. is a business.
It doesn't matter if you disagree. Can you allow me to talk?
I'm just letting you know I disagree. It's my stream. I can let you know when I want.
Okay.
What's on my mind.
So how about you just shut the fuck up for a second and allow someone to speak instead of just having them listen to you? You're nonsense.
The U.S. is a country,
let's go.
Not a business.
The U.S. is a business.
No, it's a country.
Doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It is. No. It just is. Where do you think the money comes from the government? Where does the government get their money?
How does the government get their money?
The government doesn't sell anything. They don't own any products. Where does the government get their money?
You know, a business is more likely to sell things and make products to make money. We pay taxes.
So where does the government get their money?
We live in a country, so we pay taxes to the country.
Where does the government get their money?
I'm answering your question.
Where?
The people. Like every other country.
Exactly. The people.
And the way business works. Let me guess. Business owners are the only important people in fucking society, and they're the only ones that are relevant enough to have a fucking political thought. Okay, here. We get the government. The government gets the government. You want to pretend like the country's a company. I'm saying that we have a government and we have a country for our people. A company. What is the purpose of a company? What is the purpose of a company, my friend? What is a company's purpose for existing? Yes,
it's to make money. That's what you don't seem to understand.
Exactly.
The business owners are in it to make money.
Exactly.
And if
A
you take
company
away all the
exists to
incentives to make
exclusively
money,
make
you're not going to
money.
have anything.
A company exists exclusively
all
to
that-
make money.
Boy, you're just a fucking idiot.
A company exists exclusively to make money, and you want to live in a country where you
No,
want to
that's not
run
the
like a
only reason why a
business.
business. Wow, you're just a fucking
I
idiot. That's
asked
not
you
the
what
only
is the
reason why
purpose of a
business-
company. I asked you what the purpose is, and you said it's to make money. So if you want to live in a country where the
That's one of the
exclusive purpose is to
purposes.
make money, we could get rid of
One
the
of
entire
the
social
purposes.
safety net, and we could save a
A
tremendous
business
amount of money
can't be a
not paying
business
into
unless
it.
it makes money.
Right?
Boy, you're just a fucking idiot. You don't.
No, you're getting triggered right
so
off the bat.
let's
You were
take this to
coming
the
on,
next
you were
level.
coming on demanding how we're
What
gonna run
happens
this
if the
fucking
business
show.
can't make money? What happens if the business can't make money?
Then it collapses, right? But it's a good thing we're talking about
Okay.
a country, not a company.
So imagine this. Imagine you're wanting to be president and you're gifted $1 billion, and at the end of it, you're 20 million in the hole.
Well, imagine that you are president, right? And then you do a tax plan, which is 83%.
Oh, you
to the benefit of the top
incentivize
1%.
business
Wait,
owners
hold on,
to make more money.
hold on.
Oh my
hold on,
God!
hold
Imagine
on.
that.
Hold on.
Imagine how corrupt that
So
is.
imagine you do a tax plan which cuts revenue while you increase spending, so you increase the deficit unlike any other president before you. You actually ended up, by the end of your term, the biggest deficit spender of any president in our history, at least in the modern era.
I'm not
And you
disagreeing
want to
with
talk
that,
and you
but
want to
here's
talk
what I am-
about
but
debt?
here's what you don't
want to talk
understand.
about Kamala Harris's campaign debt?
Oh my God.
When Donald Trump was making
She
trillions
was
of
running her
dollars in
campaign
debt?
as a business, and she's 20 million in the hole, dumbass.
Yeah, Donald Trump was trillions of dollars in the hole. You want to talk about that? We can talk about that. Donald Trump had ridiculous
Oh my God,
debt.
you have no
He said
idea
he was
about
the king
business
of
if
debt.
you don't understand.
You
what
don't-
money he's with.
I'm talking about how he ran
no
the.
idea.
You're so
Buddy, you
unbelievably
lost.
stupid.
It's okay,
I'm
though.
talking.
It's kinda
I'm talking
funny.
about how. I'm talking
I'm just
about the
gonna
money
keep
of the
showing-
government.
I'm
talking about the money of the government.
because he's just clueless. It's hilarious. It's
So
truly.
you're
it's
mad about
entertaining.
20. You're mad about $20 million
the
dollars
closest
of
thing
debt.
you're gonna have to
You're
a
talking
business
about
is this
20 million. Here.
shitty YouTube
Watch
channel.
this. Watch this. You see, I can do that. You see what I can do there? I can shut you up anytime I fucking want. I've been letting you speak a lot, actually.
Go ahead.
So let me
It's
tell you
hilarious.
something.
I think it's
Let me
just-
tell
it's
you
good
something.
entertainment for your
Let me
for
tell
your
you
audience.
something. Let me tell you something, all right? You're concerned about $20 million of debt. I'm concerned about trillions of dollars in debt. You excuse Donald Trump's deficit spending because what? It
He
benefits
had a
business
plan.
owners like you?
He had a plan, and it
Yeah,
was
his
working.
plan was
You
deficit
expect him
spending,
to
you
do
dummy.
things and he's not even back in office yet. It's incredible. Kamala did nothing.
I'm talking
She
about
was
his
there the whole
record,
time, and now
dumbass.
he's not even president.
I'm talking
yet, and
about
you
his
expect these
record,
things
bro.
of him?
I'm talking about his record when he was president. What are you talking about? Do you understand my argument? I want you to slowly explain my
you're
argument.
emotionally
Go ahead and slowly
a
explain my
child.
argument. Go ahead and explain my argument.
You don't own a
Go
business.
ahead and explain my argument.
You're
Hold on.
basically
Brother, I don't give a. Here,
never
watch this.
emotionally
Watch this. Watch this.
gets
Watch this. Watch
better.
this. I don't give a fuck
You're
about
a
your
little
business,
kid.
boy.
You're
I don't
a
give a
little
fuck
child.
about your business. Brother,
right now.
brother, tell me.
It's truly funny.
Tell
It's
me
hilarious.
my argument. Steelman my argument, and I will tell you how accurate you're being.
All you're doing is gonna put me on mute.
I'm letting you right now say what argument I'm presenting to you. And I want to see if you understand it, because based on what you've been saying, I don't think you're understanding it. I might have to explain slowly. Of course, you're going to interrupt.
Trump
But go ahead.
did
Explain my argument.
Tax. He did put us in debt, but he was getting us out of debt at the same time. That's what you seem to be missing.
How?
The biggest.
How is he doing that?
Because of inflation. Inflation was down really low. It
But
was down
that's
below
unrelated to the
2%.
deficit. He increased the deficit.
It is.
How did he cut the debt if he increased the
Because
deficit?
As soon as the Biden, they started spending trillions, they printed trillions of dollars that we didn't have. Dumbass.
So did
Watered
Trump.
down our economy.
And Donald Trump increased the deficit before COVID. So you're telling me Donald Trump had a plan to cut the debt. Maybe he had concepts of a plan. Tell me, my friend, how was he cutting the debt when he was increasing the deficit? No, he wasn't. The trade deficit was worse, and manufacturing jobs went
You don't
down.
want to hear the answer. I could
I'm giving you an answer. I'm correcting you. I'm correcting you because you're wrong. So you're saying he was bringing the jobs back. He was doing the inflation, something with inflation, and he was cutting debt by increasing the deficit. It was all part of the plan. The plan he most
was
definitely had.
incentivizing businesses to come back to the United States.
So manufacturing jobs went
understand
down
that.
under
With car
Donald Trump. We lost
manufacturing,
200,000 manufacturing jobs under Donald Trump. We see 800,000 new
You're good
manufacturing
at
jobs under
spewing
Joe
CNN
Biden.
talking points.
This
That's
isn't
pretty clear.
CNN talking points. This is just facts, and you don't want to address the facts. You don't care
Facts
about
from
the
where?
facts.
From what true? What are you even talking about? Are you looking
This
at
is just
actual
data. This is
figures?
just data, man. This is just
Data,
this is
data
just
where?
looking at investments.
Off of CNN? Off of
No, it's not off of
NBC?
CNN. It's part of the probably the Department of Labor talking about job numbers. It's probably a bunch of different fucking sources, right? So again, you don't want to address the arguments because it doesn't fit your narrative, and you only want to work at the narrative. So Donald Trump was going to reduce the debt. Donald Trump was going to tell me this. Tell me this. Go ahead. Let's focus specifically on this. You're saying Donald Trump is going to increase or reduce the debt. So Donald Trump increased the deficit. When the deficit is higher, that means we get more debt. How is Donald Trump going to reduce the debt?
Further into debt. I'm not disagreeing that. You're
disagreed
arguing
with
with
it
points
earlier.
that I'm not even
You
disagreeing
disagreed with it earlier, man.
It's just you can't even stop talking for a second to even hear what I'm having to say.
I'm correcting you because you're on my stream.
No, you're not. You're not. You're just.
You literally said he had a plan to reduce
you're
debt.
Emotionally like a child.
He had a plan to reduce
so here's
debt.
The deal.
He had a plan to reduce debt, correct? And in his plan to reduce debt, he increased the deficit.
What do you do for a living? You basically have to count on someone who owns a business, right, to make your money?
No, I don't have to count on. I don't have to count on. You're such a fucking dick sucker of the top 1%, bro. Oh, the business is so great. My boss would make a great president.
With some woke freaking channel on YouTube
woke,
spewing disinformation.
Go ahead, define woke. Go and define woke for me, okay, buddy? You can't. You don't even know what it means. It's just a prerogative for you, a prerogative.
It's pretty much what we're getting right now.
You're woke.
Woke is pretty much just calling someone racist when you don't agree with it. They have to.
I didn't call you racist once in this conversation. Are you dumb? Are you dumb?
I didn't say you did, but
did you get dropped in your head as a fucking baby? Let me. How do you feel? Here. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? Hey, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about the top 1% since the 1970s getting an increase?
Do you have any
200%.
idea how hard it is
Hold on.
to become the top 1%?
Hold on. Here. I'm asking you a question, right?
You've never owned a business.
I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question, my friend. I'm asking you a question. So how do you feel about the top 1% getting 200% of an increase in their wealth since the 1970s, and the top 0.1 of 1% getting a 400% increase in their wealth? Meanwhile, the bottom 90% saw only a 28% increase to their wealth. Does it not concern you at all that we have a tax code, an economic policy that has allowed for income inequality to skyrocket, that has allowed for, while companies and rich folks are doing fine, working people to not feel that benefit? Does that not concern you whatsoever, Mr. Business Owner?
What really concerns me is that it skyrocketed during COVID. They basically shut down.
No, income inequality did not. Income inequality did not. Income inequality did not begin in the COVID. Income inequality did not begin during COVID. Income inequality was begin. I literally referenced the 1970s, and you want to bring up COVID. You know, there was a lot of time before the 1970s, right? You know, or excuse me, before COVID. You know, the jobs being sent overseas. The jobs being sent overseas. The jobs being sent overseas. Oh my God, you own a business. You own a business. Aren't you? Yes, you own a business. You own a business. Go suck a dick. No one gives a fuck about your business. What's your business? What do you even do? No one cares about your business.
I've owned 3 different businesses in my lifetime.
Good for you, buddy. Good for you. Good for you.
You don't really want to
hear
it.
And maybe one of the reasons that you're so for Donald Trump is maybe you're part of that top 1%. Maybe you're part of those people
that's what it is. I definitely am. I'm a billionaire. Yeah.
Do you think the top 1% is exclusively billionaires?
Channel as a billionaire.
Wait. Do you think the top 1% is exclusively billionaires?
You don't really know what it's like to. You really have. You're so clueless.
I don't know what it's like for the billionaires. I don't know what it's like for the billionaires. The people that need the most sympathy.
Bye, dummy.
Bye. All right. The business owner, the petite bourgeois, demands that Elon Musk and Donald Trump deserve our sympathy. Yes. Come on, my friend. Adam Bonnell says, debates don't usually include swearing. Well, I can swear however I want. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, it's the dumbass from earlier. Hey, what's up, buddy? What's on your mind? Hello?
My guy.
What's up?
We talking again?
I guess, but you might be interrupting again, I assume.
Come on, part 2. Let's put on the show, bro. I think the people like it.
So you saw the conversation after there was a nice civil conversation. So your whole talk about like, yes, there was a time where people could talk to each other. It can happen. Depends on how you act, though. Just so you know.
All right, man. I'll just tell you like this, bro. If I say something that might rub you the wrong way, that was an accident, you know? So you don't got to take it the wrong way if it might feel like that.
I'm gonna correct whatever I feel like correcting.
And I'm gonna try to do the same thing.
I'm gonna correct what I feel like correcting. Okay?
Yeah, fair enough. But I'm just saying though, be cautious that there's a quote that says that to be able to speak is to be able to risk offending people. All right?
Yes. I'm not afraid of offending people.
All right, so, exactly. So we're both taking that risk, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So this is all I'm saying right here, right, bro?
Yeah.
First of all, America is a business.
It absolutely is not. It's a country.
Okay, if you don't understand that America is a business, then I don't think you can employ people, and you can't employ
this is the thing. If you look at America as a business, like I said in the last conversation, the point of a business, the sole purpose is to make money for the owners, right? It's not even to make money for the employees. It's to make money for the owners. Now, I will say this. We've been run like a business. We've sacrificed long-term shit for short-term gain for the top 1%. You know, when we do ridiculous tax cuts which exclusively help the top 1% at the sacrifice of the workers, when we have a situation where workers' wages are stagnant while CEOs are doing completely well, we are actually being run by a business, and that's at the core of the problems of our country.
Yeah.
Get what I'm saying?
I hear you. I'm listening.
Yes. So that's the big thing. If we look at our country like a company and we govern like it's a company, we will govern to make profit for the worst people you can imagine.
No.
Yes.
No. Right? No. See,
do you think
when you're
trickle-down
talking
economics
about making
works?
profit, you're not understanding that on certain scales, our business exists in a different how would I say, in a different example of what a business is, if I can say that, right? For example, I'm gonna give you an example of certain business platforms that you don't really understand. So like somebody that's like running a lemonade stand, right? They're all about profit. They got to make enough to be able to make it to next week. You have certain businesses that can take losses for years and years and years and years and years. So you can't make it seem like businesses are all about making profit, because you have certain businesses, for example, like the New York Knicks. They don't win any games, right?
But they
keep on selling out tickets, right?
Yeah, but they sell tickets and they still have a community of fans that'll give them money.
Okay, so then you have to ask, what is the point? What is the point of a basketball team? To win championships or to make money? Because usually the teams that win, usually the teams that win championships don't make money.
I'm sure they make money to a degree, otherwise they wouldn't exist.
No. I'm telling you something that you might not know, but I'm telling you so you know.
They make money in some ways, whether we're talking about selling tickets, whether we're talking about selling merch, whether we're talking about sponsorships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a bunch of ways for any brand to make a bunch of money just by being a brand.
All right, cool. I can forgo that. I don't even really need to look that deep into that right there. All I'm trying to explain to you is that you cannot deny the fact that the government employs people, and you cannot employ people without there being a company. They write invoices and receive payments.
We have federal employees, sure.
No, you pay your taxes, right?
Yes, we have federal employees. I've never disputed that we have federal employees. The government needs workers to operate. I don't understand the question here. That doesn't mean America is therefore a company. We're still a country. We just need people to operate the country. We need an administrative state, right? We need federal employees. We need state employees. We need local employees.
So we need an organization. We need an organization that has to be able to pay people.
Yeah, we've been able to pay people. Yes. Yes, we've been able to pay
Okay,
people.
and what are we? And this is the thing that you don't understand about America. We happen to be a company that can pay people with our own tokens that we make ourselves. We're not Disney. We don't pay people with money we need to make. The government can write checks they don't pay us, bro. So at the end of the day,
we can spend a lot of money.
It has to be accounted for. The problem is that the U.S. government doesn't have to take any accountability, considering the $1 trillion debt, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of debt.
I understand what you're saying, and that's what I'm trying to say. I think we're arguing two sides of the same coin. The government, the country is a business. It's just not a successful one because it's corrupted and the rules don't apply to them. But I think you and I both agree that it is a business. But I think that what you're trying to say is
I think what we define as a business is a little different.
Business.
I think what we need to do
away from the fact that it is a business.
I think if there's concern about government spending, then yes, there are places where we can cut. Maybe instead of spending more than the top 10 militaries combined, we can spend more than the top 5 militaries combined. Maybe we can invest in certain fields that will generate more wealth. Maybe we can invest in infrastructure. Maybe we can invest in our schools. Maybe we can invest in trade schools, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
We settled that. I want to talk about this next subject, right?
But hold on. I'm not done with this yet. I'm not done with this point yet. If we want to look at our government in a way like how do we make more money for the nation, for the government, whatever, how do we fund the programs that we need to fund? How do we get less debt? We can do that by reversing the Trump tax cuts. We can do that by reversing the Bush tax cuts. We can adopt a tax code more similar to the one that we had in the days where we had the greatest expansion of the middle class we ever seen. We can have an infrastructure program like we saw under Republican Dwight D. Eisenhower and Democrat Franklin Roosevelt. We can invest in our people again. And when you invest in people, you will make more money to that.
Now.
Yes.
So if we get rid of the Trump tax cuts and we stop giving the billionaires and large companies breaks, right? Because essentially that's what you're talking about, yes?
Well, I'm sure, it's more nuanced than that. I'm sure if there's like something that we can see that's worth investing into a company, like for example, the auto industry bailout, I think that was fine, but I don't agree with the Wall Street bailout, right? There's nuance.
I agree with you right there. I don't believe in that either, right?
Yes.
I don't think that was correct. But this is my question. If we go ahead and we create tax reform to make sure that businesses that have the right? And
hold on, you cut out there. You cut out there for a second. What'd you say? Hello?
Do you believe that it will just turn around on the
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You hear me?
You cut out for a bit? You were asking a question, but you cut out.
I was saying, do you believe that if we have tax reform to force billionaires and large companies to pay more in taxes, do you think that it will turn around and the consumer will be the one paying the penalty?
No.
Why not?
So, for example, if we made a wealth tax, for instance, it's very different than, say, like a tariff, right? So we tax wealth above a certain amount. We're just talking liquid wealth here. We're not necessarily talking about the stock market, though there are taxes to Wall Street speculation, and we can talk about that further. But if we were just to tax wealth, it's not like we're taxing a product, right? It's not like with the tariffs, how when a tariff is done on all goods coming into the country, things will be at least 10% more expensive if you go with a 10% tariff, because if a company finds it still profitable to produce outside the country, and they produce it outside the country, and they import it here, they still want to make the same profit margins, so then they just increase the price on that consumer. That's how we then feel the burden. But if Elon Musk loses a couple $1 billion, we're not talking about a connection with a product. We're not talking about a burden that can be pushed onto the consumer. We're talking about Elon Musk losing some of his power, which is a good thing, which is one of the most important things, in my view, about taxation, is taking power away from the top 1%, because they've had it too well for too long, and they have tremendous influence on our political life, and that's no good.
Yeah, but I'm trying to understand the logic behind you saying that people are going to be motivated to make sure they still make their profit margins if we add tariffs. And if you add taxes to these same billionaires, how doesn't that same logic apply where they would be motivated to make sure they make their profits?
No, I never said that tariffs are going to stop people's motivation from making profits. They're still going to be motivated to make profits. That's why.
No. Sorry, you misheard what I said. I'm agreeing with you.
Just misspoke there.
Yes, they're going to be motivated to keep making their profits. But
Yeah.
I think that logic still applies when you tax billionaires. They're
No,
just
but
going to
if
make
you
the
if you
product
just
more
if you
expensive.
so what? Okay, again. So when we're talking about tariffs, we can talk about specific products becoming more expensive due to tariffs. If Elon Musk got taxed, let's say, 10 billion extra dollars, that's just a random number I'm pulling out of my ass, right? What is Elon Musk then going to push onto consumer in relation to the additional money that he was just taxed with? Is he going to make SpaceX rockets more expensive? Well, it's not like the regular consumer was going to fly up into space. Is he going to make Tesla products more expensive? Most likely, if Trump's president, you can directly correlate that with the tariffs that will affect the manufacturing of the cars rather than his own wealth.
I'm trying to understand
His
why
own
you
wealth,
think that's far
his own
fetched.
wealth really, his own wealth really doesn't
Why
have
do
much
you-
impact on the price of a Tesla. You
You're
get what I'm
saying
saying?
that vaguely as if raising the price of a Tesla wouldn't be possible. Why do you think that wouldn't happen?
What do you mean? Like if we
Why do you think that
if we taxed
so
Elon Musk,
you're gonna tax the wealthy, and the wealthy they're gonna have the because I don't think you're a communist, right? You don't believe in controlling prices, right?
I mean, we can have rent caps. We can have certain times where there's price controls, but that's not communism. That doesn't
So
equal
you
communism.
you are a communist.
You think I'm a communist? Hold on. Wait. You're lagging a little bit. You think I'm a communist?
Are you hearing me? You
Yeah.
just said that you believe that they can limit prices. Is that what you said? They can limit prices on certain things at certain times.
Yeah, like if there's a company and you're able to find that they are raising prices beyond inflation in a way. Here's a good example. If when a hurricane is coming, wait, here's no. Hold on. Hold on, brother. Let me just clarify things for you because I think you need an explanation of my views. If a hurricane is coming, brother, don't be raging. Don't be getting triggered so fucking fast, dog. Here, my friend, my boy. Listen, if there's a hurricane coming, and a store proceeds to raise the prices on bottles of water, on canned foods, on things you might need to survive, and then the government steps in to that company and says, you cannot price gouge the fucking people when there's a fucking hurricane coming. If people need fucking sandbags, you cannot make sandbags cost $1,000 per bag. I don't think that that's communism whatsoever. I don't think that that's socialism. And I'm just kind of curious, what do you define as socialism?
There is a difference between...
What is the definition of socialism?
There is a difference, my guy. You're talking about controlling the prices of things and not condemning price gouging.
Yeah, no, do you understand? No, I'm not talking about a toothless, oh, don't do that, that's mean. I'm talking about we're gonna put you in fucking jail if you raise prices on these goods when people need that. You understand that is by definition price controls. Now again, I'm curious, since you think I'm a communist, since you think I'm a socialist, what do you think socialism at least means?
Bro, I don't know what's going on with your mic. You're like turning up and down. Are you like?
What, my friend, does socialism mean?
In my eyes, socialism is villainizing success. You gotta understand that there's levels. If there's somebody standing on the top, then maybe they're standing on somebody that's at the bottom. That's the fact of the matter. And
socialism is villainizing success.
I believe that socialism is when people believe that they can stop that dark reality that the person standing on top has to stand on the person on the bottom. But the issue with that, buddy, is that is a reality, that it doesn't matter how many times you turn the wheel, it's going to come back to that reality.
So socialism, the
only way you can see black ink, the only way
socialism,
is by having a white canvas. The only way
socialism,
is by having a black canvas. There's a balance to everything in life, buddy.
So socialism equals not liking rich people, vilifying success? That's your definition of socialism? Hold up, you're lagging there a little bit. Can you repeat, clarify? That's your definition?
Absolutely.
Your definition is just being mean to rich people, essentially. Well, what socialism means is collective ownership of the means of production, right? That comes in many forms. That in the workplace, that can come with workers owning their place of work. That means that workers get to vote on decisions, get to decide the wages of the workers, get to decide the production goals, etc., etc., etc. That's a form of worker ownership of the means of productions. That's the form of collective ownership of the means of productions. I'm curious where in anything I was saying did I say that the means of production need to be collectively owned. In anything I said, was there an example of the means of production being collectively owned?
I'm sorry, my phone is breaking up, and I didn't hear much of what you said.
Okay,
now.
here. So your definition of socialism is essentially vilifying rich people. You're saying Elon Musk bad. That's essentially socialism or some shit like that. The definition of socialism would be collective ownership of the means of productions, changing the economic system itself, right? So what that would, there's a lot of variations of what that could be. And one of the examples would be the workers own the factory. It's worker ownership of the means of production, and it's the workers that get to vote, that get to decide. Essentially, if you had a union that ran a factory and then they owned the entire factory, and they get to decide the wages, they get to decide the benefits, they get to decide the production goals, etc., etc., etc. There are worker co-ops that exist that, if that was, say, mandated, would require all workers to own the means of productions. That would change the economic system, and that would be collective ownership. That would be socialism. And that's not really what I'm talking about when I'm talking about making sure that price of food is not too expensive when a hurricane's coming, which is, by definition, price control. So I'm just kind of curious, where in anything I said have I been saying collective ownership of the means of productions completely changed the capitalist economic structure?
So you can read your textbook definition of whatever you want.
And I'm talking about the literal definition. All you said was being mean to rich people is socialism.
Oh, God.
Franklin Roosevelt was mean to rich people. Was Franklin Roosevelt a socialist? Was Theodore Roosevelt a socialist?
You can read your definition all you want. What I'm talking about is when you speak about taxing the rich, when you talk about
taxing the rich is
people,
socialism. Taxing the rich is socialist. So was America a socialist country in the 1950s when we had marginal tax rates of 90%?
Bro, this is a question for you.
We had 90% marginal tax rates.
You can tax the rich. How much do you believe that you can tax the rich to have the effect of whatever it is that you think is going to come from it, in which you don't think we've already taxed them?
So we have, again, my question to you is how you're saying that taxing the rich is socialism. We had a marginal tax rate of 90% in the 1950s, in the midst of the Cold War, where we were competing with a so-called socialist Soviet Union. Are you telling me that 1950s America was communist, was socialist?
What was the quality of life in the 1950s?
Well, it depends on the community that you're talking to. But again, you're trying to tell me. It depends on the community you're talking to.
Was everyone?
But I asked you a question directly. Was 1950s America socialism when we had marginal tax rates of 90% on the wealthiest people in this country?
Okay, so you read those statistics. Now I'm
asking you. It's a fact. I'm asking you a direct question. Were we socialist? Were we socialist? Just tell me that. Just tell me.
I'm asking a question so that I can tell you.
Did we do a socialism? Did we do a socialism in 1950s America? Hello? Hello, are you there? You're breaking up.
We're in the 1950s. If people
generally were
poor and had less at the table, yes, at the time we were a socialist nation. If at the time we were taxing the rich and we were doing that villainizing success, and at the same time people were having a harder time in life, in which if you're talking about the Cold War, then I would assume that you're talking about that time period. Yes. Life actually wasn't bad at that time.
So you're telling me, your claim here is, 1, socialism equals when people are poor. 2, 1950s America was a socialist country.
No, every time
Come on, man.
every time socialism has been used,
I'm not advocating for socialism. I'm not advocating for socialism. I'm just going off your definition of socialism, and by your definition of socialism, your definition of socialism would be 1950s America, because rich people were taxed with marginal tax rates of 90%. You were saying that me wanting to tax the rich. You were trying to say. I know. Use your PragerU talking points. Use your talking points. Bark. You're using your talking points. Good job. You would be real good on Fox News, brother. You're just doing your talking points. Okay. So let's move beyond the talking points and address the specific things you were saying. You were saying that I was doing a socialism by saying I want to tax Elon Musk more. That's really interesting. So socialism is when tax happens. There were higher tax rates that I'm not even advocating for in the 1950s in America. 90% marginal tax rates. So you're telling me, 1950s America, when we were at odds with the Soviet Union, when we were cooing socialists in Latin America and in Asia, that's when we were socialist as well, because we taxed the rich. You literally did say taxing the rich is socialism. Vilifying the rich is socialism. So we lived in a socialist country. Well, we weren't alive, but if we just were teleported in the same place that we are currently, we would be socialist.
Bro, I don't think you really understand that the things that you're
I don't think you understand the words you're saying, bro. You're saying words. I'm giving you the meaning, and you're like, well, that's the meaning, but I don't really care about the meaning.
Reality, buddy.
Excuse me?
The things you're saying are not adding up to reality.
No, I think the things I'm saying are very much adding up to reality. You just don't want to accept that somebody disagrees with you. You're saying that I was advocating for socialism. You called me a communist, and I defined communism and socialism, and then based on your definition, which is a wrong definition, you would define 1950s America, when we did see the greatest expansion of the middle class we ever did see, you would define that as socialist, because rich people were taxed more.
I didn't define that as socialism. You asked me a question about the 1950s.
So go ahead. I'll give you an opportunity.
I asked you what was the quality of life.
To clarify, what is your definition of socialism? Just straight to the point. What is it?
Bro, I gave you my definition of socialism.
Being mean to rich people?
No, villainizing success.
Villainizing success. So
There's
villainizing the successful, villainizing the rich people. So Teddy Roosevelt did that a hell of a lot. So it was Theodore Roosevelt, a socialist.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that.
You don't think Teddy Roosevelt ever vilified rich people or the economic elites? You don't think Teddy Roosevelt was at odds with the rich people?
Without me going to do my own independent research and all of that, I'm not too sure that I'm just going to take your word for it, if that's okay with you.
Again, I think you're just proving that you just don't know the history. You're free to do the research, but we've been going at this for a good amount of time, 23 minutes. This stream's been going on for a good amount of time, got a good amount of views, and I gotta piss. So I'm gonna let you go for now, but I think...
Yeah, bro. Take care, man. Have a good one, bro. Be safe.
Thank you. You too. Oof, funny guy, that guy. All right, I'm gonna end stream soon because I gotta piss, but let's go ahead and read some of the chat. Let's read some of the chat. Bro, Google Voice be messing up the input volume in my mic. It'd be turning it down. I gotta figure out a way to change that. I don't know what the deal is with that. Okay, let's go read the chat a little bit. At least this guy can handle a disagreement unlike this guy. At least can handle a disagreement unlike this guy. It's been fun, y'all. Take care. He knows more about Teddy Ruxpin. I don't know who Teddy Ruxpin is. Yeah, neither party would let it happen. Lol, you mad, bro. Sunglasses emoji. Thank you. It's better for you to just listen to things you agree with. No, I think it's perfectly fine hearing things you disagree with and then just interacting with the people you disagree with. Leo Dems would never let it happen. I could use a good amount of brainwashing. My mind is dirty AF. But I love this point. You conservatives say, you're just brainwashed. You're brainwashed. No, I'm interacting with your side, and I'm disagreeing with you openly. Go back to the Daily Wire, Tucker. You're all brainwashed, Tucker says. Your free Obama home entertainment system is cutting out? Yeah, that's a funny ass quote. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that. That's funny. Your free Obama home entertainment system. What the fuck is a free Obama home entertainment system? All right. Okay, so Panzer Fox was talking about the 50s loopholes. So what we should do is to target the loopholes. Tech support, you're better than that. You think I can't quote Biden and Kamala with the same game? He needs to call tech support for the microphone. What is capitalism? What has capitalism done for society? What is capitalism done for the society? Mostly disagreed for the top 1%. I don't really know what point was being made there. But no, Tucker, there are many reasons why I didn't vote for Trump. CNN anchors get paid $7 million a year. That should be a crime. And anchors get paid more than doctors, paramedics, cops, firefighters, construction workers. T-Bop and M814, if you want to support, raising wages for workers, I mean, sure, I'm down for that. I think that many of those workers you mentioned deserve higher pay than CNN employees. Leo, you didn't vote because you probably didn't vote for Trump because you can't stand up not for good. Tucker, you mean people have the reasons for not voting for Trump, and you can assume the best, right? One of the guys I talked to gave his reasons, and I disagreed with him, and I was open about the disagreement, and it was a respectful conversation. It could happen. Tom says, I think Trump supporters should go buy Donald Trump Bibles for his $100,000 watches so he can use it for his attorneys. That's true, since they trust the guy so much. Despite high taxes on the wealthy, the economy grew rapidly. This period saw significant industrial expansion and saw the middle class saw broad wage growth, a high-risk rising standard of living, and access to benefits like healthcare and pensions. Precisely tech support. They say they're pretending like high taxes means no growth. We literally had the highest taxes and the highest growth in this country's history. Tom McGuire says, bring capital gains tax to the point it was in the 1940s. I 100% agree. One of the reasons we need high taxes is because people simply should not have the level of money that the billionaire class does. Because power comes from wealth. And when you have people, almost a tiny percentage, which almost all the wealth, those people have too much damn power. And they get to do what Elon Musk does or what George Soros does. And they get to make super PACs and they get to influence elections. That's not okay, folks. Here, let me go down. Let me see what the chat's been doing. David says, billionaires pay all the taxes. I love people like you, David. Because you're just open about your love for the 1%. There was a time in this country's history where workers, CEOs, and the company itself had growth together. That's when we had unions. You know what I'm saying? But when union membership goes down, productivity still goes up, the corporation profits still go up, the CEO pay goes up, but the workers' pay stays down. But praise be to the CEO. They care about us. My lord! If you were in feudal society, you'd be absolutely loving your king. If you were in slavery, this is getting a little edgy here, you would be absolutely obsessed with your master. Leo says David would kiss the king's ring for sure. No doubt about it. Tucker says, name calling typical lib. Tucker, I call things as it is. I call a spade a spade. I call a dumbass any day of the week. Casper, I don't want to hear about your fucking fetishes, dog. David is really going to war for the rich people. Rich people invest into technology which benefits everybody. Well, a lot of times you have situations like in pharmaceuticals where the government actually invests in research and then the pharmaceutical companies get to sell the product and they get to take the money and the government doesn't. So we actually pay for a lot of these companies to do well, to learn more, to invent things, to invest in technology, and they get the profits. They get the success. Tucker says, be professional. Tucker, you can suck my dick. That's what I feel about your professionalism. Go suck a dick, Tucker. Genuinely, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a 60-year-old man. Grow thicker skin. You're on fucking YouTube. Be professional. Alamo says, yes, they fight for high pay. When they are successful, they up the dues. There are statistics about unions. If you're in a union, you're more likely to get higher pay than the rest of the workers. You're more likely to get better benefits, whether we're talking about retirement, whether we're talking about healthcare. Being a union is objectively better for working people. Okay? David Becker says in all caps, SpaceX! SpaceX! I don't understand the point you're making. Fuck SpaceX. Fuck SpaceX, brother. I'm a fan of NASA. Right? Not a big fan of SpaceX. Well, because Trump is known for his restrained comments of others, Tucker. Exactly. I mean, I don't understand this be professional, be nice, be civil when Trump's your guy. You can't do that when Trump's your guy. You gotta work in reality. Norm says, why can't the teachers' unions teach the children to read and write in the cities? If you don't think reading and writing and math is happening in schools, then you haven't been to school in a long time and you don't know what you're talking about. Do you agree with all the random tax-funded programs? I'm sure there's a program I disagree with. Like here, I don't think we should be spending more than the top 10 highest spending militaries combined. But you know what? I'd be fine with spending more than the top 5 next top spenders. So we can cut some of the military budget. We can close some of our 400 military bases and save some money there. I think that that's a good thing to do. Would you be for that? Would you be for that? I'm curious. Tucker, I've been having people to disagree with me. You've been watching the stream the whole time, like the terminally online motherfucker you are. And you saw I spoke with a Trump voter, and it was a very civil conversation where we were practically agreeing on all the shit that we want to see. We want to see a meritocracy, where the starting line was equal. You know, so that no matter what your background is, you have a chance at success if you actually work hard. We can have disagreements. But if you say dumb shit, I'm gonna call you dumb. If you're saying, please be professional in this YouTube stream, I'm gonna tell you to suck a dick. Because you're in the wrong fucking place. Grow thicker skin. Be a man. Grow some balls. Right? Don't be a pussy. Alright. 5,000 views. Not bad, fellas. 5,298. That's going to be good watch hours, man. And we have been at this for... How long has the stream been going? 2:55. That's pretty good. Maybe I'll let it go the extra few minutes, you know. Got a little bit more juice out of those watch hours. Or if I were to just leave the stream going, I could make a bit more, actually. Oh, you know what I could do in a moment like this? I could play music. I'm not going to take any more calls. We had a good time with the calls, but we've moved beyond that point, my friends. Alright, let's check the live chat. Yes, we should be distributing free freedom at 60 days at a time. I don't know what that means, my friend. Bobby says, I hope you legisl, fam? I don't know what legisl is, Bobby. Oh, Alamo says, shouldn't. We shouldn't be distributing free freedom at 60 days at a time. Shouldn't be distributing free freedom 60 days at a time. The military. Interesting. Again, I don't fully understand your point there, but more power to you, my friend. More power to you. Now, if I play certain music, I just remembered there's a thing called copyright on YouTube. And copyright is no fun, is it? Copyright is no fun, my friends. The time period that the U.S. government can go do operations with declaring war, without declaring war. Yeah, we should do less wars. You know? Like when Trump bombed Somalia, he did do that thing. Donald Trump bombed Somalia, Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq. Increased drone strikes for 135%. And supported the Saudis' genocide in Yemen. While also doing work with Israel, where he kept the Palestinians out of the conversation, moved the embassy to Jerusalem, and let Israel take the Golan Heights, which is Syrian territory, which is bad. Tucker says, anyway, hope you have a good one, y'all. Take care of yourself. You too, Tucker. Thank you for watching. Let's get like some MIDI, right? MIDI, it will be copyright free. Christmas music. MIDI Christmas music. Get like a playlist. Oh, it's a compilation! Yes. That's exactly what I was looking for. Yes, sir! Scott Brown said deleted. I don't know what was deleted. Almo says it's all the same, different puppets. Islam is the truth says, have you watched All of Us Are Dead? I have not watched All of Us Are Dead. How's the music sound on your end? Let me hear it. Oh, it's not too loud. How's the music sound on your end? Let me hear it. It's actually a good amount. I gotta deal with the audio issue because for some reason when I do the Google Voice calls, it lowers the mic audio directly in the sound. Gotta figure out how to stop that. Norm says, here is why he's really angry. You cannot love or hate something about another person unless it mirrors or reflects to you something that you either love or hate about yourself. Motherfucker, what is this armchair psychology shit? Norm, suck a dick too, bro. You know what I heard about you particularly, and people like you, is y'all think y'all some fucking deep thinkers. You're not even thinking deep. You're just saying words, brother. Pickle says, don't worry, Donald Trump won't deport you. Yeah, because I was born here. Alamo says, do you think if Democrats would have nominated anyone other than the two, it would have been better? Yeah. I don't know if they would have won. I think it depends on the candidate. But I think pretty much any governor from the Midwest would have been better picked than Kamala Harris. And at least whoever that governor would be would hopefully have less of the sort of Biden-Harris people surrounding them in the campaign that would tell them, yes, we need to win the mythical moderate Republican vote that doesn't really exist, and we need to campaign with Liz Cheney and do this and do that. You know? Benjamin says, if autism wasn't so loud, I could tolerate it. And if so, could afford a haircut. I don't understand what you're even saying there, my friend. Knight Templar, Deus Vault says, Trump 2024. I hope you enjoyed the tariffs, the inflation from the tariffs, Knight Templar. Norm says, 4 times. You are so emotional. Norm, you can't really make claims that someone's so emotional when you're fake laughing in a comment section. Rebel Duster says, what do you think about NATO sending 800,000 troops to the Ukraine war against Russia? Well, I don't think that that's happening. I don't know where you heard that, but I can assure you that that's not happening. Everybody knows some turkey. Is that the lyric? And some mistletoe. Hold up. Help. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna smile to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase from kids from 1 to 92. Something, something. Something, 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 something. I'm blanking on lyrics. Merry Christmas to you. Josh says, what are you going to do for the next 4 years when Trump's not around? Will you be normal again? Why are the anti-Trumpists emotional? Hoo hoo hoo. Aren't you a... I love the fake laughter in comments, bro. It's the funniest fucking thing. So, while Trump's president, I'm gonna personally be fine, hopefully. I'm gonna work and do my job, you know? That's all you can really do in times where you disagree with the administration. But I don't think you can really put the emotional claim on people exclusively that don't like Donald Trump. I mean, just look in the mirror. Should we stay out of all foreign affairs, leave aid to the Red Cross, stop sending military equipment to a black hole? Depends on the conflict. I think we can support countries defending themselves, but I think we should stop supporting genocidal maniacs, particularly Israel and Saudi Arabia. That would be a great place to stop sending weapons. But I'm perfectly fine with sending weapons to Ukraine. We don't need to get into a whole debate about that. I just care. I think defensive wars are fine. Supporting defense is a perfectly normal thing to do. That was World War II. We defended ourselves. We should be arming Taiwan. That's fine with me, because they needed a deterrent from China. So, yeah. It surprises me that Westerners are so easily to dismiss the advent of World War III, knowing full well it directly affect them in their daily lives. Truly fascinating behavior of an already conquered people. And you aren't a Westerner, I guess. I don't know who you are, but World War III has not began, my friend. And Donald Trump's going to be president. If he gets along with Putin very well, then maybe war's not going to start then. Tech support says now his mic works. Norm Durkin says Trump 2024, Vance 2028, Trump Jr. 2032. What happened to fucking Vance's second term, man? You fucking did he fucking die? What'd y'all do to him? Go Trump. Dreamers is just a word, Joseph says. Meat, Jonathan sends. Tristan says, who cares about mass deportation when they're not supposed to be here in the first place? Well, you know, our immigration system being inefficient and slow is one of the reasons that they go the undocumented direction. We can fix that by making it faster and investing in that, or we could just send them away and then they'll come back later on and we're not really actually solving the root cause of the problem. I don't think you're interested in solving the root cause of the problem. It is what it is. And if you mass deport these people that, work in the fields, 40% of agriculture is non-undocumented people, a good amount of construction work is done by undocumented people. These are the most essential work that we need. And you want to deport them. I think that that's dumb. You know, I think 80% of undocumented people have been here for over a decade. That was a recent statistic, or at least one from 2022. I think 2022, maybe later than that. But all those people that have been here for a decade and they've been working, they have they have the right to be here. They're adding to our country. They're doing labor. They're being productive members of society. They don't deserve to be deported. They deserve to be deported as much as you deserve to be deported as a native-born citizen. Be like Poland. No, I want to be better than Poland. You know, we're a bit of a different standard than Poland, my friend. T-Love says, you're doing a great job convincing absolutely no one. Well, I'm talking mainly to Trump supporters. These streams do get subscribers, so there are people that obviously agree with me. But obviously, if you like Donald Trump and you're part of that cult, you're not going to be moved, and that's fine with me. It's just business. Can you turn off tunnel mode? No. Get out of the cave? No. You're right, we'll get 8 years with Vance. Well, I'm glad you're not leaving Vance out of your equation. That's a little bit of a nicer thing to do, Norm. Who cares? Men will fill the spot. If you believe that there won't be a labor shortage, I'm sure you know you have something that the researchers are missing, I guess. Who cares? Should have done it the right way. Well, maybe we need to fix the right way. Maybe we shouldn't have the right way be decades of a process to come into the country. You know, when we had people coming in from Ellis Island, they were just getting citizenship the moment they stepped off the boat. I'm not saying we do that, but we should have more people doing background checks and doing it faster. Can you make the tunnel larger then? It's already pretty high. It's already in the red. Too many things catered for the non-essentials, and they are not needed, and it would be cheaper to get rid of them than to keep them. I'm assuming you're talking about undocumented people. It would not be cheap whatsoever. You'd be getting rid of their labor, which adds to the economy. You'd be getting rid of the tax revenue that comes from their paycheck. You'd be getting rid of the tax revenue that comes from the sales tax. You would be spending and getting rid of sources of income. You'd be hurting the agriculture economy because 40% of workers are undocumented in that economy. So yeah, that doesn't help nobody. Tristan Barnes says researchers is a broad term. Who are these researchers? Fucking universities. I'm assuming you're not going to be happy with that answer either. There was a Reason magazine article, which is a right-wing publication. They're conservative. They're not liberals, but they were saying that the plan to do mass deportations is both immoral, but also very inefficient and very expensive. And if we wanted to actually deal with the issue is the process. Not just deporting a bunch of people that haven't done anything wrong, that have just been working here. Not causing a labor shortage just because brown people are scary to you, even though native-born citizens commit significantly more crime than immigrants. Why don't you just invent something? People need to make money, dummy. What is this something? I'm just kind of curious what you're trying to say. Why don't you just invent something? People need to make money. You're saying that an illegal immigrant should just make the fucking next iPhone or something? Honk Donkey says, why are you pro-slavery? I'm not pro-slavery. I'm for these farm workers to become legal citizens so they get the same labor protections as any American does. You are for getting rid of these people that have been doing great work for the American people. How much does a hotel room cost per day in New York? How much does a person living in that room make and buy? Well, scenic shoots, I'm for giving these people proper citizenship so that they can get labor protections and wages that Americans do, and they can work as they've been working. And those 80% of people that have been living in this country that are undocumented, the 80% of undocumented workers, those people aren't the ones living in hotels that you're mad about. So coming to America illegally is moral. Yes, I don't give a fuck. It's an arbitrary border. Cry about it. It's a line on the fucking ground. If they then come here and they're the most productive motherfucker, they're more productive than you, I'd rather you get deported and they stay here and they're able to do the work that they've been doing. And they should honestly get paid better so they can get more food for their fucking family. Tristan Barnes says, if I go into your yard right now and I don't live, I'm trespassing, right? But when I was working in our yard, but I was working in your yard against your will. Well, Tristan, my yard is not a country. I don't have an immigration process. This country has an immigration process. And we have an immigration process that incentivizes illegal immigration. So if you want to deal with illegal immigration, well, the simple thing is to make the process more efficient. So that these people that want to work can become regular working Americans. And maybe there's someone that you don't want entering the country. Maybe they have a dangerous record. If you had more workers doing background checks, etc., 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 then we can deport those guys faster. But the 80% of undocumented workers that have been here for 10 years, they have a right to stay here. I want them to be here. DMC 2021 says, come legally, you don't make the rules, Indian dude. I didn't see enough anti-Indian racism in this stream, and again, I'm not Indian. Zach Cat, you literally have no solid position on anything. My position is to make the immigration process faster. Like in the beginning of the 19th, or the late 19th century, early 20th century, but a bit more background checks than those days, where it was essentially, you get to come into this country, and if you're ready to work, you're ready to work. Zach Kent says, it's wrong to stop people from coming in, but the process should be more rigorous, but also it's not wrong for people to be here illegally. Should there be a process or not? Is it discriminatory or immoral to have a process? No, it's not immoral to have a process. We just have a dumb process, and our dumb process encourages people to come here illegally. If you don't want people coming in here illegally, make the process faster and more efficient. That's my position. We had a faster and more efficient system, which is why the Germans, the Italians, the Irish, that's what was happening when all those different people that were not considered part of the white upper class, when they came to America in the 19th century, that's the system they were having. In fact, they had pretty much no regulations on their immigration. I say we have some regulations, and I say we do at least some background checks to make sure criminals aren't coming, right? But that requires hiring more people to do that process, and I'm fine with that. I'd rather do that than an ultra expensive mass deportation plan, than a useless, dumb wall, right? There's better ways to spend our money. Jeff says there's simply not enough to go around. Make it more efficient means even more Americans are out on their butt. Jeff, you understand we spend money on a lot of things. How about we allocate some of the money we're currently spending, like, let's say, building bombs, because we have the biggest military budget in the world. How about we move some of that into immigration? And then we can make our process more efficient without necessarily taking something away from the regular person. We're taking something away from the military-industrial complex, but they're not really the top of my concerns. We have a dumb process which encourages people to come here illegally, but it's okay for the 80% of people to be here illegally. Oh no, I don't want that to be here illegally. We should be processing those 80% of workers that have been here for 10 years. We should be processing them. They should be made into citizens, especially those people when they've been just so productive for over a decade, and they've been putting more into this country than you'll ever in your life. I don't know this Christmas song. What is this Christmas song? This is important, folks. This is more important than y'all. I gotta deal with the Christmas. Hold up. Where am I at? I'm at 1619. Let's just skip to the next one. Alright, there you go. Alright, back to chat. It's not acceptable for people to skip the immigration's customs or not. Again, I don't blame them when our system takes it multiple decades to become a citizen. I say we make our system faster, and by the way, that would make less people come here illegally. Simple as that. It's not stupid arbitrary line. Yeah, it is. Tristan says, I dated a woman here on a visa. It's not a dumb wall. Mexico's a dumpster fire. No, it is a dumb wall, because people don't even fucking come here mainly through that fucking border. They come here through legal ports of entry. They come here on airplane on fucking tourist visas, and they stay here as tourists, essentially. And they just don't fucking go back. The top of your concerns is Baby Gronk and the Rizzler. I'm actually significantly more concerned about the activities of the Rizzler than illegal immigration. And you can put that on the fucking record. That's genuinely true. Jeff Neff says, why are the house prices almost doubled? If you think that that's immigrants' fault, and not the banks buying all the shit, not the landlords, you got your guns pointed in the wrong direction, man. You got your anger pointed at the wrong direction. Look at the people who actually own those motherfucking houses that are selling those houses, dog. Look at the government policies, the local government policies that prevent an increase in the housing supply, that stop you from building more housing, man. You have actual ops in the world, man. And your ops are not the poorest people you could fucking meet and the hardest working people you could meet, man. Tristan Barnes says, I put on the internet all over the East Coast that those immigrants are a drop in the bucket compared to me. Tristan, if you think you make a bigger impact than the illegal immigrant community, I'm not just exclusively talking about the legal immigrants. I'm talking about illegal immigrants, undocumented people. If you think you're of bigger importance than them or a bigger impact than them, you're very wrong. You're very wrong. You're unbelievably wrong. I actually never seen anybody more wrong than you, Tristan. Is the system designed to protect the stupid arbitrary line? Yeah. Protect, I don't know, but it's definitely designed in a way that's slow and inefficient, right? I think we can agree that the immigration process needs reform to make it more efficient. That's not really controversial. Adjust your damn microphone. I had to turn my volume all the way down. No. I like it loud, man. That's my way. Guys, some moron took a moment to stop covering Baby Gronk and the Rizzler drama to unequivocally prove us that illegal immigrants work harder. Work harder than you. I don't think they'll have to make much effort to prove that, Zach. An immigrant that works in a farm worker, that's out here picking vegetables and cutting broccoli and harvesting, does more important work than you'll ever do, is a harder worker than you'll ever be, and is actually doing work that helps people. A Rebel Duster says, I know I'm more important than illegal. I think you're just, you're an equal person as an illegal, my friend. You're a person. They're a person. They do more important work, but it's just a fact of the matter. Why should a process designed to guard a stupid, arbitrary line be more efficient? No, we should reform it. We should change it. We should make it so that people can come here faster. That's what I'm saying should be more efficient. The process of people becoming citizens should be more efficient. That's what I'm saying, my friend. Zach Kemp says, I work on a farm. I doubt that. And maybe you own the farm. Maybe you're a landowner. And in that case, I mean, I actually value the farm workers more than the actual landowner. Landowners have been the bane of humanity's existence for essentially all of human history. Resources are limited, and the population cannot grow without the simple fact that life will get harder for citizens if we outgrow our current capacity. Immigrants make our capacity bigger. Otherwise, you're saying population growth essentially has this limit. If that was the case, when people came here in the first immigration waves from Ireland, from Italy, from Germany, well, we would have reached the limit at that point. The baby boomers were a massive increase into the population, and we would have reached our limit at that point. We've had a bunch of immigration since the 60s, and we would have reached our limit by that point. It turns out when people are here, they're also in need of services. That's how the economy works. If you're an immigrant and let's say you need a house, well then there's demand to build a house. Well then there's an industry, there's a reason to build supplies to build housing and then to eventually build that house, and there's jobs created. If in that house you need a TV, well there's reason to build TVs in the TV factory. If you need a bed, there's a reason to build beds in the bed factory. More people means more demand, which means more production. That's what it means. It's not this finite space. We're not in a tight closet. You know, if you go outside, there's actually a lot of fucking space. Tristan Barnes says, I bet this guy voted for Baby Sniffer Joe, in 2020, and you voted for a guy liable for sexual assault in a court of law, Donald Trump. I know that's going to make you mad, though. Resources are limited, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I read that. What you tech support says, Balaki. What'd you say? Resources. What do you mean? Like water, homes, food? What exactly? Alter Challenge says people should stop being cowards and fight for a better country. If my country falls into chaos, I'll die for my way of life, for my country. I won't run and hide. I don't quite understand your point here. I'm not advocating for a violent civil war. And you make Fortnite videos. I suggest just staying on to Fortnite instead of advocating for political violence. Tristan Barnes, the sexual assault case was not dismissed. He still has to pay his shit. El Paso, trust me, it was bad in El Paso. Oh wow, thank you for your anecdote, FP. I don't give a fuck about anecdotes. Why should there be a system protecting the border in place? In the first place, it's arbitrary. Well, I don't want criminals. So we should have background checks. It's arbitrary. And that's my arbitrary line. I think we don't need murderers, and we can do a check on that. I think that's perfectly reasonable to do. Chuck says, do you lock your door at night? Let me guess, you're making another metaphor or analogy that the border is actually like our house. Well, my house is not. It does not have an immigration process, my friend. We do, as a country. And when we have a slow and inefficient immigration process, we encourage illegal immigration to occur. If you don't want illegal immigration to occur, number one, stop screwing over countries in South America. And number two, make a faster and more efficient system. It's a real simple solution. Damn, you disagree with Kamala's border policy. Yeah, Kamala Harris wanted a Republican border policy. She didn't really talk about making the process more efficient. She talked about making the process more difficult. So yes, I do disagree with Kamala Harris. Because that shit resulted in a handful of rapes and murders. Native-born citizens commit more rape and murder and crime in general than immigrants, illegal or legal. That's a fact and it's indisputable. You can get mad about it, but nah, that's on you. Don't be mad about facts. That's all I can recommend. Alright, folks. We've been going at this for 3 hours and 23 minutes. It's been a good stream. 6,263 views. We were able to get like about 1,000 new views in the time since our last guest came on. So I think I'm going to head out. I appreciate your time, my friends. Thank you for coming. Actually, is there a funny video I could show? No. Y'all already hearing the music. Turn this shit up. I gotta point this out, folks. This guy said, Daddy Trump is gonna fix the last administration's failures. You know, I wouldn't refer to that man as Daddy. Go watch your... Oh my god. I gotta say, I do have a genuine theory that a lot of conservatism does come from a weird sexual sort of fuckery in the brain. This man is calling Trump Daddy and then talking about cucking shit. You're a cuckold. You're into cuckoldry. You're a freak. You're a freak. You're projecting your fetishes. You know, I never even learned about the word cuck until I heard Trump supporters saying it in 2016. Y'all are freaks, dog. Y'all into some weird shit. I gotta say. You're into some weird shit. And I'm a guy that wears girls' clothes. And you're weirder. Merry Christmas, folks. Or wait, it's more Thanksgiving. You know? Or Thanksgiving's coming up soon. I'm gonna be watching the Misfits boxing fight somehow, some way. It's gonna be a good time. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. This is that song. I think it has a long build-up. That might not be the right shit right away. Da 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 da. I think this is you better watch. Bro, when does it stop? I swear this is the introduction, man. No, I missed the introduction. Shit! Chuck says need his hard drive checked. And tech support makes a great point. You voted for a guy that said he would date his own daughter. Y'all are freaks. And you voted for a guy that was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. And you voted for a guy that was friends with Diddy. And you voted for a guy that nominated a pedophile to be his attorney general. Y'all want to talk about checking hard drives? Look in your own fucking side, man. Look at your own fucking side, I gotta say. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Misinformation! Oh, cry about it, Tristan. It's not misinformation. You're just a bitch and don't want to accept reality. Welcome to the real world, man. It's not what you would like. Watching too much CNN. Why is that your only response? Go disprove me. Go show me that clip of Donald Trump defending Diddy on The Apprentice does not exist. Show me it doesn't exist. Show me it was AI. Show me it was fake, man. I would absolutely call you a dumbass bitch to your face. Fuck you mean, man? You're a dumbass. You're a dumbass, and I'd rather have 50 illegal immigrants in this country and you deported. That would be a much better country. Genuinely. Ooh, you would get hurt. Wow, keyboard warrior. You would get hurt. Suck my dick, man. Suck my dick, bruv. You ain't shit. I bet that's a lie, though. What, the Trump shit? No, it's not. It's not. It's not. You know what? I'll pull it up. I'll pull up the audio. Since y'all can't see the screen, but Trump, Diddy. Trump, Diddy. We got that shit. We got that shit. We got that shit, bro.
Working for Diddy for 6 years trained me to have to be perfect.
Working for Diddy?
Absolutely.
I love Diddy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy.
He expects.
Is he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that
Oh,
question.
wow. I think he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up for him.
Working for
a good friend of his. His words, not mine. He's gonna stick up for him. Oh, but that's your boy, though. That's your boy. That's your boy. Yeah, people can create work, and that is a resource, but Earth's resources are limited. What are your views on environmentalism? Do you really think I am absolutely against your bullshit fucking eugenics. We need to depopulate the Earth. Okay? We're in a post-scarcity world. We produce more food than we eat. Eric Adams gave Diddy the key to the city. You want to know what I think about Eric Adams? I think Eric Adams should go fuck himself, that corrupt son of a bitch. You see that? I can criticize a Democrat. Did you know you can do that? I can criticize a Democrat and I can criticize a Republican, but you have to do whataboutism when your boy was defending Diddy, when your boy said that Diddy is a friend of his. Why is that? Why are you a partisan hack? Tell me that. He calls everyone a friend, even if he hasn't met him. He has met Diddy. I don't think he calls everyone a good friend of his, all right? Donald Trump, as you know, is a Hollywood guy. He met a lot of very famous people, and he knows Diddy. Would you like to see a picture of him and Diddy meeting? Here's a picture of him and Diddy. Hold up. There's actually many pictures of him and Diddy. How do I switch this? Reacting? Chatting? Would you rather? Hold on. Let me just add a window here. Display capture? Oh, too much damn display captures. Whatever. Would you look at this, man? Isn't this like a crazy coincidence? Look at him with Diddy. Wow. Your boy with Diddy. And his wife Melania. This is a fairly recent picture. Not a recent in 2020, but like this. He's not young in this picture, but there is pictures of him a lot younger. There's him a lot younger with Diddy back in the 90s, I think. So they were friends since the 90s. Friends in the 90s and the 2000s. You know, also, I mean, what is this? What is this? What is this? Whoa. Whoa! Who would have thought? He was buddies with Jeffrey Epstein? For decades? Wow. Oh my goodness. Isn't that a surprise? You fucking idiot. You just said Eric Adams gave Diddy the key to Chicago. You fucking dumbass. You're so dumb. You're actually so stupid. I don't understand. How does it feel to be legitimately that stupid, dog? Oh, gosh. Chicago. Yes, Eric Adams, mayor of Chicago. I can show you a picture of Obama and Diddy. Smiling, lol. Almost like that's what you do in a pic. That means they are friends. I don't know, bro. I gotta say, I think it's really easy to not be pictured with a pedophile, with the CEO of Pedophilia Incorporated. Okay? I think that's a really easy thing to do. Don't you think? A photo opportunity before Diddy was exposed. You notice how that woman says she doesn't want to answer that when he asked, is Diddy a great guy? And she says, I don't want to answer that. And then he says, oh, well, I'm going to stick up for him. I'm going to stick up for him. People behind the scenes know. Donald Trump knew. You're quite a presumptuous guy. Wow, aren't you a savage, bro? You're such a savage, bro. Go play more fucking Fortnite, dog. Grown-ass man with some 12-year-old ass jokes, bro. I got even no problem that you play Fortnite. Fortnite's a fun game to play. But go have some fun, man. You're on some cheesy shit. Ooh. Let me defend the pedophilia. Let me defend the pedophile. You're a pedophilia defender. Come on, brother. I can say clearly, fuck pedophiles. Can you say that? No, you can't say that, because that would offend Donald Trump. Remember that clip of Donald Trump saying he's going to release the JFK files, he's going to release the aliens. They asked him, are you going to release this, are you going to release that? He said, yeah. Are you going to release the Epstein files? He said, well, no, there's a lot of fake stuff there that could really harm people. You remember when Ghislaine Maxwell, however you say her first name, was going to court, Jeffrey Epstein's right-hand woman. If Epstein was the president of Pedophilia Incorporated, Ghislaine was the vice president. And when Donald Trump was asked about her during his presidency, he said, I wish her well. But you're going to defend that again because you're okay with pedophiles as long as it's your guy, because you don't actually care about the kids, you don't actually care about anything. It's like that one caller from earlier when he was talking about, we don't talk about the things people care about. And I started talking about the economy. He's like, started talking about trans kids. He started talking about trans kids. And I started talking about kids being bombed, and he said Israel's just defending himself. So he was for Israel's defense, meaning he's for Israel getting to bomb children. You guys don't give a fuck about the safety of children. You're genuinely the worst people probably ever. Elites do photo ops. That doesn't mean they're buddy-buddy. Well, Donald Trump said he was buddy-buddy. Donald Trump said Diddy was a good friend of his. And he said back in the day about Jeffrey Epstein, we know Jeffrey likes him young. So when you say the CEO of Pedophilia Incorporated likes him young, I think you know what you're saying, Mr. Donald Trump. But again, you guys are going to defend it. Watch, you guys. You can't criticize Donald Trump. It's like you're physically incapable because you're biased. You're biased, my friends. And you have an opportunity to grow out of that. Zach Kent says, you guys don't give a fuck about the safety of children unlike me. I cover drama around 12-year-old boys on the regular. I made like a fucking video, a brain rot video about Baby Gronk and the Rizzler. That's what he's referring to. And you know what? I'd rather people like Baby Gronk and the Rizzler not get blown up like they're getting blown up in Israel. Or ever find themselves in Jeffrey Epstein's island with Donald Trump looking over them. Right? So yes, I would say that I am actually more concerned with the safety of children than you guys are when you guys defend your pedophile-in-chief, Donald Trump. How do you feel about him nominating Matt Gaetz, who's been exposed for having relations with 17-year-olds and literally giving them hundreds of thousands of dollars, or at least thousands of dollars through Venmo? It's all accusations. There's a shit more content. Bros are clutching at straws. Yeah, keep defending the pedophile. That's a good strategy, believe me. Believe me, man. Keep defending the pedophile. That's the Republican platform of 2028. And you know what? It's going to serve you guys well. With that in mind, I'm going to head off stream because we've been going on for a good amount of time. And it was a good stream. I appreciate your time. Appreciate your time, folks.